to design and build.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv.
It seems like everyone is on a complicated diet these days. Gluten-free, keto, metabolic, sugar-free. And with these diets comes special dietary protocol and food products. You can find plenty of advice on your social media sites, but you need expertise to purchase the right food items. A visit to Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop is necessary to shop the best food choices for a medical diet or health plan. Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop stocks all the hard-to-find foods you're looking for, like wheat and dairy alternatives, sugar-free baking mixes, healthy snacks, and more. There's no longer a reason to put off that diet you're supposed to be on when you have Lil's. The staff has personally researched and vetted each item in the store and has plenty of choices in stock.
Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop on 111th Street in Mount Greenwood on the south side of Chicago. Stop in and shop in person or order online at lilsdietary.com and get your items shipped right to your home. lilsdietary.com. Shop, learn, and be healthy.
It's hard to believe, but 2024 will be here soon. Before you get caught up in all the busy holiday season shopping and whatnot, ask yourself, what are you doing now to put your retirement in a better position for the future? Sean Thompson here for my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. Tom has prepared a 2023 year-end planning report. This report will show you ways to reduce your tax burden on your retirement savings, income strategies that don't depend on a volatile market, and ideas on how to protect and pass down assets to your loved ones. Tom has been helping build financial plans for retirements for over 2 decades, and he's sharing his knowledge and experience in this report. Call Tom today at 630-934-1855 and ask for the 2023 year-end planning report. That's 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
This hourly segment brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah and Rick Borick this Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, we kick off with sports and politics this morning, pun intended, because Republican politicians, mainly, because we're talking about Florida and Florida State, have infused politics into the selection for the college playoff that happened over the weekend. And, you know, I mean, honestly.
Because Florida State's not in the top 4 and they're 13-0.
Honestly, this is the problem with American culture. Nothing is walled off from politics. And here to show our equanimity.
Equanimity.
Again, it's Republican politicians leading with Senator Rick Scott from Florida. He sent a letter, 3-page letter to Mr. Boo Corrigan, who is, I guess, the chairman of the selection committee.
Oh, of course. Public enemy number 1 in Florida, right?
These 13 mystics that made the selection. So it's Michigan 1 versus Alabama, the 4 seed. It's Washington 2 versus Texas, the 3 seed. That's the Final Four.
Right.
Okay, for those who are not college football fans, as Amy mentioned, Florida State, Power 5 conference, went 13-0 and was frozen out. Alabama has a loss. Texas has a loss. They won their conferences as well, conference championship games they're in, and so the hue and cry.
You know, it would have helped the situation if my Iowa Hawkeyes would have beaten Michigan, but we couldn't even score a point. So
yeah,
that didn't happen. I know.
Worst 10-2 team going into that game in college football history.
It's fine.
Nobody. I mean, it's embarrassing. Honestly, that Iowa offense is so embarrassing, and it's not just embarrassing against Michigan
next year. So,
yeah, well, it's just Big Ten. But the Big Ten is terrible. Alabama's going to beat Michigan, but I digress.
That's true. I agree with you on that.
So 3-page letter, and he's demanding. Senator Scott is demanding. I request you immediately respond to this letter with the following. He's got like a number of items, the listing step and ranking step votes of each member on Sunday, any notes, recordings, reports detailing the deliberations of the selection committee, any emails, text messages, other written communications exchanged between members of the selection committee, any emails, text messages, written communications exchanged between members of the selection committee, and
clothes you were wearing at the time that you made the decision.
Company officers, board management, any emails. I mean, it just goes on, like a request in the context of legal action, a discovery request in the context of legal action from a sitting United States Senator in Florida.
That could be next. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our text line is up and running right now, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Well, I mean, it could be happening next because DeSantis said last night he was proposing to set aside $1 million in his upcoming budget recommendations in case there is any litigation surrounding this. I'm not saying there's going to be. They're looking at it. I don't think this has spoken well for college football. So everybody's got to get in on it.
Can't they just expand it to 8 games instead of 4, or 8 teams instead of 4?
So that's happening next year,
okay.
and then you're going to have the same argument about the top 8 versus the 9th team that was left out. It's never going to end. You have a March Madness that has 64 teams, well, with 2 play-in games now, 66 teams, and you still argue about who was left out. It's always going to be somebody gets left out. The idea that this should fall under the purview of the United States Senate, of the federal government, even the state government. I get everybody wants to. In Florida, you gotta, you gotta wave your Florida State flag in this instance. But setting aside money, setting aside the time to call together information related to the deliberations of the selection committee, all you have to do to understand the arguments that were going on in that room is watch, if you can stand it, which I can't, any of these infernal, indistinguishable shows on ESPN that spent all day Sunday, and then all day yesterday talking about it, making the argument for Alabama, making the argument for Florida State. Here's my argument against Florida State in one statistic, one number.
Okay, what?
13.5. 13.5 is the spread between Georgia and Florida State. Georgia is favored by 13.5 over Florida State in the bowl game they're going to play. The problem Florida State had, they lost their starting quarterback.
Right,
they were down to their
Jordan
fourth
Travis.
string against Louisville. They eked out that ugly 16-6 win on Sunday over Louisville, on Saturday actually over Louisville, and so I think the selection committee. It's a controversial choice. I get it. The SEC's always got to have somebody in. I get the arguments, but they just looked at Florida State and said, without the starting quarterback, Florida State is not competitive with these other 3 finalists, and so we're going to go with Alabama.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer. Like Georgia, I mean, they lost, well, obviously to Alabama. That's why they're out. But they had a great record. They had a great year. I think they're better than Michigan, don't you?
Well,
but it doesn't matter.
There's no argument for Georgia when you don't win your conference championship. Mark on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, I heard you mention money. I don't know if it's fair that Bama's in and Florida State's out, but it's all about the money. Bama's a big draw. Either half of the country hates them and half of the country loves them, and it's about the money. They're going to be a big draw for that game. Probably be one of the most watched games there is because they're going to be rooting against Alabama, and that's what I think it's about, the money.
Well, it's always about the money to some extent, but Florida State's not like some backwater program nobody's ever heard of. I mean, they haven't been in this position in a while, but I mean, Florida State is a premier program. Florida's a big state. It's a big market. If they were going to be competitive, I mean, Florida State has as much national cachet or more than Washington. But Washington was deserved to get in. But I mean,
but they're not a national. I mean, they're nationally
so,
obviously, but it's not like a draw like Alabama.
The other thing saying, oh, it's all about the money. All these politicians too. They said, I'm hearing that from Florida politicians too. Republicans now I'm criticizing. Oh, it's all about the money. Right. Well, it's always about the money. But this is part of the same crew that green lights all of the federal support for colleges and when you're talking about state universities, taxpayer subsidy of coaches making millions and millions of dollars, the paying of players and professionalizing college sports. Oh, and now we're going to decry that money's involved in college football. Right. Jeez. Come on. Give me a break. On the give me a break front, too, Trump weighed in.
Oh, he did?
Florida State was treated very badly by the committee. They became the first Power 5 team to be left out of the college football playoffs. Really bad lobbying effort. Let's blame DeSanctimonious. I mean, come on. Are you serious? How ridiculous. Yeah, Ron DeSantis
has nothing to do with that.
It's his fault Florida State didn't get the nod on Sunday. I mean, all of this, but the politicking with sports, I mean, that's why sports has become so unwatchable for me.
But not
even
at
the games
level, though, really.
You can't keep politics out of it. ESPN can't. Many of the announcers can't. Many of the colleges can't. It's not as bad as the pros, but it's the same dynamic that turned me off of the NFL, the NBA, to some extent Major League Baseball. I mean, just can politicians just resist the temptation? These are supposedly conservatives that have an appreciation for limited government and an understanding that restraint needs to be exercised. And you want to get involved in the selection of the Final Four for the college football playoff. I just find it embarrassing. On a good news front in sports and politics, just updating the story we brought you last week.
What?
And for which I wrote a commentary over at my counterculture blog that you can check out if you like. It's very good.
I want to spend more time with you. Where do I find it?
My counterculture podcast, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple.
Okay.
The American Greatness website, amgreatness.com. The appearance of one Holden Armenta. This is the 9-year. We finally got his age. He's 9 years old.
Okay.
9 years old.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was 5.
The 9-year-old fan, Kansas City Chiefs fan, who painted his face half red, half black, and then got attacked by this goof at Deadspin for somehow being both racist against blacks and Native Americans, even though it turns out that he has Native American heritage. Well, now they're talking about they've hired attorneys and they're looking at suing the publisher of Deadspin, a la Nick Sandman, and I hope they do. I absolutely hope they do. And I'm surprised that Karen Phillips over at Deadspin hasn't taken out over Florida State, saying, you're raising the bar. Instead of going after toddlers, he can go after college kids now because Florida State has an offensive mascot. Florida State fans do that tomahawk chop, so they don't deserve to be in the Final Four just because of that. I was waiting for that column, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and they wear face paint, too. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, construction put on hold.
Yeah, and at 5:38, we'll check in with Jim Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma, who got pantsed by Stephanopoulos over the weekend. We've got problems with more Republicans than just these Florida ones. 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
35 degrees at 5:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Still problems on the outbound Dan Ryan. Shut down between 18th and the Stevenson due to a fatal crash investigation, and we'll have more in traffic in just a moment. But first, Israel is said to be considering a plan to flood Hamas's network of tunnels beneath the Gaza Strip. The move could make them unusable for the Palestinian militant group. Reports are that Israel has already built a system of large pumps to send seawater from the Mediterranean into the terror tunnels and flooding them within weeks. Israeli senior advisor Mark Regev says up to 9 Americans still remain prisoners of Hamas.
We have to fear for them because we've been interviewing the people who've come out, and they went through a living hell. No child should ever have to go through the way Hamas treated them.
The Israeli military says it's expanding its ground assault today to all of the Gaza Strip. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy are set to take the debate stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for debate tonight. Governor DeSantis on Fox says he's more conservative than Haley and has a stronger record.
Somebody that would be able to get in there, serve 2 terms, and actually deliver all the things that we've wanted to see delivered at the national level, just like I did in Florida. I have more similarities on policy with Donald Trump than I do on Nikki Haley. I think Nikki Haley really represents the last gasp of a failed establishment.
Former President Trump will once again not be present, but will host another event. Financial records released by the House and Republicans show President Biden did receive monthly payments from his son Hunter's business in 2018.
We have lots of specific questions that we need to ask the president's son and the president's brother, and you just don't have enough time in a public hearing. We will have a public hearing, and these depositions will essentially be public because there will be transcripts.
Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says Hunter Biden's firm Owasco PC received payments from Chinese companies and other foreign entities and claimed the payments of nearly $1,400 to Biden show the president participated in the scheme. SpaceX gearing up for a critical launch in Florida later this week. The company says its Falcon Heavy rocket will send a national security payload for the U.S. Space Force into orbit. The Chicago Tribune this morning first to report that the Manteno Village Board Monday night approved a zoning change that will clear the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery plant that has been championed by progressive Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker. The board's 5-1 vote comes about 3 months after Pritzker touted his success in luring Goshen to build the plant in Manteno with $536 million in taxpayer-funded incentives, along with the potential for federal money. A toddler killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana Monday evening. Maryville police say medics arrived on the scene first and started working on the victim, a 3-year-old boy, in an ambulance. He was later transported to Methodist Hospital Southlake. The child later pronounced dead. The Blackhawks take on Nashville tonight. The Bulls getting ready for Charlotte tomorrow night. College hoops tonight. Number 18 Illinois will try to knock off a top 10 team when they square off with Florida Atlantic in the Jimmy V Classic. The news service of PKF Mueller CPA professionals, business, and financial advisors. The Mueller CPA team, experienced, committed, and ready to help. Visit online today, pkfmueller.com, pkfmueller.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2024? Yeah, that sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what AM 560, The Answer, wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th, and you can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
This is Seth Leibson of 960thepatriot.com for townhall.com. Last week, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Israel doesn't have enough credit to completely dismantle Hamas. This weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris said too many civilians are being killed and Israel must respect international law. Of course, civilians must be protected and international law respected, as they were by Israel on October 6th of this year and last year and the year before that. Of course, too, Hamas, which has been hiding armaments in civilian outposts like schools and hospitals, and civilians in front of military targets, is violating international law. This was true on October 6th of this year and last year and the year before that. Hamas attacks on Israel were the most radical violations of humanitarian and international law we've seen. What is new is that U.S. officials now are complicitly aiding and abetting terrorist war manuals and rules of engagement. This is the precise path to more civilian deaths. Blinken and Harris should be ashamed of themselves.
When you need to ship sensitive or large and heavy equipment, the DC Group in Elk Grove has the experience and expertise to handle the biggest and most complicated jobs. DC Export and Domestic Packing, Inc. was founded in 1974 by the husband and wife team of Dominic and Carol Cacciamiglio. Beginning in a building not much bigger than a 4-car garage, the company now boasts 2 Chicago area facilities totaling 100,000 square feet, plus a 45,000 square foot FTZ warehouse in Greenville, South Carolina. Through these facilities and their long-standing agents, they offer nationwide packing, crating, container, and flat rack loading unloading, as well as warehousing, all with heavy lift capabilities. Other products available include custom-made boxes, crates, skids, and corrosion control solutions. DC Transport was founded in 1991 to meet the growing needs of their customers and provide transportation services throughout North America. From container drayage to super heavy haul loads, DC Transport can help you move just about anything. Go to dcexport.com for more info and to get in touch. dcexport.com.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family.
It's 5:40. Quick check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Dan Ryan outbound still shut down between 18th and Stevenson due to a crash investigation. An earlier fatal crash involved 2 cars and at least 1 pedestrian. Again, police are still on the scene. It's causing some slowdowns on the inbound Dan Ryan as well, too. 23 minutes in from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Snow and rain mixed through the morning. High near 40 by the afternoon. Clouds and 30 overnight. Light snow at O'Hare and Midway, 35 degrees. And your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the fever dream of the left that Trump is a dictator in waiting, and again, if he were to win re-election in 2024, that would be the end of the Republic, and maybe end times.
Oh, there's going to be a dictatorship. It's going to be over. I hear people, it keeps escalating more and more and more every day that our democracy is in peril if President Trump wins again.
Oklahoma Republican Senator Jim Lankford was on with Clinton Foundation donor Zero on This Week on Sunday. And Molly Hemingway actually brought this to my attention with a piece she wrote for The Federalist. Really a weak performance from Lankford. I mean, this is a senator from a state that Trump won 65% of the vote in 2020, conservative state, Oklahoma. I don't know if you've heard. And this is the weak tea you get from Jim Langford in response to the kitchen sink propaganda from a lifetime Dem operative masquerading as a journalist or commentator, objective commentator, just a show host, asking the tough questions of both sides. Right. None of that happens on the Sunday talk shows. So I don't even know why some of these people who aren't running for office, running for president, and looking to have a moment in exchange to fire up the base, why even bother? Especially if you're going to cower in the face of the silliness from Stephanopoulos the way Langford did. Listen to the first 2 minutes of this interview where Stephanopoulos, knowing what he had in Langford, tries to corner him on Trump.
Senator James Langford of Oklahoma. Senator Langford, thank you for joining us this morning. I want to get to the war and the negotiations over border security and foreign aid, but first, your party's leading candidate for president was on the stump yesterday repeating lies about the 2020 election. He's called those convicted in the January 6th insurrection hostages. He faces 91 separate felony counts himself. He's raised the prospect of executing the former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and terminating parts of the Constitution. In the face of all that and more, are you prepared to support Donald Trump if he's your party's nominee?
Yeah, we haven't had a single vote yet, George. This is still weeks and weeks away from our first votes that are happening actually in Iowa, then New Hampshire and South Carolina. And there are a lot of people who are going to make that decision. That's not going to be me making that decision. That's going to be the American people that actually make that decision.
Well, that's going to be Republican primary voters. You're a Republican senator, and I'm asking for your opinion. Given that record of Donald Trump, are you prepared to support him if he's the nominee of your party?
I have not actually endorsed anyone for president this time, and I didn't during the 2016 time period either. And so I've stayed out of this. Again, that's going to be Republican voters and the American people that are going to make that decision in the primary. And then in November, it'll be American voters as well. The challenge right now is Americans are trying to be able to get information, trying to be able to make decisions, and they're going to make their own decisions on that. That's who we are as Americans.
Right, I understand that, but I'm asking what your decision is. You're an elected official. You're a Republican Party official. I'm asking, can you support Donald Trump as the nominee, given his record?
Yeah, if he ends up being the nominee and I've got a choice between Donald Trump and Biden, I've got a choice between two different sets of policies, two different sets of ideas, two different ways to handle the economy, two different ways to be able to handle energy, two different ways to handle foreign policy, immigration. When I've got two sets of policies between me, that is not a hard choice between those two sets of policies that would actually face us when we get to that November time period. And if that ends up being the choice of the American people in both of those primaries, that two different sets of policies is not difficult for me because I've seen the difference between what happens at the border and security, what happens into our economy, what happens in foreign policy. Americans have seen a side-by-side on that.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. How do you think Jim Langford did there? Maybe this is why conservatives are so exasperated with congressional Republicans, generally speaking, even the so-called conservatives. Maybe this is why there's a turnout gap among Republicans when Trump is on the ballot versus when he's not, because of feeble efforts like the one you just heard from Jim Langford, where he has to be backed into a corner to basically say, I'll support the nominee, where even at that point, he can't bring himself to say Trump. But there's no pushback. There's no pushback to that riff that Clinton Foundation donor zero, which, by the way, is how he should be addressed. You know, before it was Biden Incorporated, it was Clinton Incorporated running the same influence peddling scam that the Biden administration did, and for a lot bigger dollars. Right, George? No. But we're going to pretend that Stephanopoulos is operating on the level, and we're going to come here and try to middle the position between Stephanopoulos and Trump. And I don't care if Langford was supporting DeSantis or something like that. It's the line of propaganda from the left. You want to understand why people don't get fired up to vote the party label? It's because of small men, at least in that moment. I haven't always thought that about Langford, but at least in that moment, like Langford. Let me give you what he could have said. And
Right.
Molly Hemingway has it.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Molly Hemingway, I can't do better than her. Here's what he could have said. First off, George, your audience should know you just regurgitated back a diatribe of lies, mistruths, and Democrat propaganda. I'm not surprised, given your professional background and track record of maliciously pushing the false and dangerous Russian collusion scam for so many years during and after the 2016 election. But I can't allow your lies to go uncorrected. The public knows full well there were major issues in how the 2020 election was conducted, from Mark Zuckerberg's $400 million on partisan get-out-the-vote efforts in key swing states, to the deliberate Hunter Biden laptop suppression that major news outlets and tech companies, along with 51 intel officers, participated in, to the tens of millions of mail-in ballots and voting changes that did not follow state law. So drop the dishonest, holier-than-thou nonsense about 2020 being the cleanest, most perfect election with nothing allowed to be scrutinized or discussed. Second, the public is also wising up to the fact that the corporate media have spun to them about what the corporate media spun to them about Jan 6 hasn't exactly been the complete truth. Yes, we know you're lying. That was the worst moment in the history of the world, requiring our FBI to do nothing other than arrest people who were anywhere near the event. Well, that and arrest pro-lifers who are praying and parents who are attending school board meetings. But most Americans know that we have not gotten good answers about why Pelosi turned down the security provisions ahead of what Intel suggested would be a very contentious day, or what exactly was being done by the federal informants and federal agents who were present for the day's events. They're extremely worried about how left-wing rioters and criminals seem to be able to do whatever they want with very few repercussions, even when they're attacking the Supreme Court, federal courthouses, the White House, churches, homes, and police precincts. And now with the release of some of the videotapes from that day, we see most of the activity that day was not in any way what it was hyped up to be and presented by the Democrats' Jan 6 show trial. And she goes on from there, but you get a sense of it. Right. That's getting on offense and not allowing the American people to be gaslit by these gas bags on Sunday talk shows like Stephanopoulos.
And here's the thing, guys, in case you don't know, they know who they're booking. They need to book Republicans who are leery of Trump to win their case, to try to persuade the American people. Oh, look, not all the Republicans are backing Trump. So we're going to book this senator who's on the Homeland Security Committee to come on our show, to push our agenda, to say, like Trump is bad. But even though he didn't come out and say it, but he was very squishy. He reminded me a lot of Mitt Romney.
Yeah, exactly. Although Romney wouldn't even given what Langford did at the end of that riff, but Langford apparently wants to stay a senator of Oklahoma, unlike Romney did. But you don't have to like Trump. You don't have to agree with what he said here or did there. But to allow that line of bull jive to go unchallenged when you have an opportunity to challenge it is cowardice and political malpractice. There's way too much of that in the Republican Party.
Got a great text message. Dan and Amy, when you hear Democrats say Trump's reelection would mean the end of our democracy, they're correct. It would mean the end of their version of democracy, which is Marxism and socialism.
And, this is at the same time that Liz Cheney is running around touting this new book that she wrote. Again, parroting the line of the left about end times if Trump is reelected. This is what she said on Good Morning America with Savannah Guthrie this week.
We will be voting on whether to preserve our republic in the next election. You think this is a vote about whether or not we still have democracy in this country?
It certainly is, and Donald Trump has told us exactly what he will do. He will not abide by the rulings of the courts. He will certainly appoint people to office, whether or not they can be confirmed by the Senate. He has talked about using the military in terms that really are fundamentally un-American, including here in the United States. So it's a very dangerous moment, and it's a moment for people to understand that cannot be the path that we go down as a country.
What is she talking about? What
I don't know.
Using the military for events here in the United States. What? Press her, Savannah. Follow through.
Appointing people to the government that won't be confirmed by the Senate. What does that mean? Well, I don't even know what that means.
You have to have Senate confirmation.
Yeah, or
hello.
Or if you don't get Senate confirmation, you can have somebody be in an acting position for a time. But administrations on both sides have done that little dance. Right. But I mean, I'm sorry. What was
Kavanaugh
Amy Coney Barrett, these Supreme Court justices, they were approved by the Senate, right? They went through that confirmation
we watched
proceeding.
the hearings, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Gorsuch, we were there. We saw all three.
The great irony of this is the actual criticism of Trump on the substance, at least from my perspective, from the conservative perspective, but I guess, we're all just insurrectionists now, is that he was too conventional when he got in. Not rhetorically, but in substantively, that he wasn't aggressive enough, that he wasn't focused enough when he needed to be triangulating Republicans who were recalcitrant when it came to funding border wall construction, like the then House Speaker Paul Ryan. That he didn't play hardball enough at times. He didn't go after Comey and remove him as head of FBI soon enough. He didn't remove a career bureaucrat, Tony Fauci, soon enough. He was not the bull in the china shop. Rhetorically, yes. Substantively, not always. In fact, to his detriment and to the country's detriment, well within his constitutional powers, he wasn't enough of the time. That's the actual criticism. Meanwhile, we know what's going on the left. A little bit more from Cheney, because here it is. Here's the vote.
Okay.
The vote, the choice in 2024 is Trump. If Trump is the Republican nominee, it's Trump or the Constitution.
You said fundamentally there's a choice to be made. You can't be both for Donald Trump and for the Constitution. You have to choose.
Yeah.
A vote for Donald Trump is unconstitutional, anti-American.
Well, he won't support and uphold the Constitution. We've already seen what happened. He is the only president in American history who attempted to overturn an election, who attempted to seize power, to stay in power after he had lost. And the reason
Al Gore challenged the outcome of the 2000 election.
Hillary Clinton still hasn't conceded, nor has Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, but I mean, Al Gore formally challenged in courts of law the outcome of the 2000 election, and he lost. Trump formally challenged the outcome of the 2020 election in courts of law, and he lost.
You don't have to tell me about hanging chads.
What's the difference other than rhetoric? And by the way, Liz Cheney, just to show, the classic case, right? It's like Kinzinger. Once you throw in with the Democrats, then you're with them for everything, because that's how your bread gets buttered. You can't just be with us on Trump. You also have to vote for big spending. You also have to vote, start saying middling things about guns and so on and so forth. You need to come all the way over if we're going to enlist, our friends in all these cultural institutions to make you rich. And so, no problem. Liz Cheney can do that.
Can America survive Donald Trump?
That's a really, the notion that we would be okay, I think, is naive. Because if you look at, for example, the Republicans who are in control of Congress today, they are collaborating with Donald Trump. You cannot count on a House of Representatives led by somebody like Mike Johnson to stop this president. You can't count on a Senate of Josh Hawley's and Mike Lee's to stop Donald Trump.
Now Mike Lee is a threat to our democracy, and Josh Hawley is. Two constitutional lawyers, and Mike Johnson, who she served with for her time in the House, he's all of a sudden metastasized into a threat to our democracy, too.
Right.
Everybody, despite the fact that the left has control of the deep state, of the civil service, of all of our cultural and civic institutions, somehow Trump gets reelected and he just rolls over everybody else. They have the control of the military, for God's sakes. But in this fever dream of Liz Cheney and some spineless Republicans like Jim Lankford, somehow he presents this existential threat where all of those institutional interests just fall by the wayside, and he anoints himself king for life. And we're supposed to take this seriously, despite the fact we have a 4-year track record. And despite what actually is going on the left right now, the censorship industrial complex that Taibbi and Schellenberger have been reporting about, that we've done as best as we can to try to amplify, and conservative media isn't doing enough on that topic, in my estimation. Of course, the D.C. press corps isn't doing anything, but that's purposeful. That's the difference. The weaponizing of the FBI. There's a new memo from the House Weaponization Committee about the FBI's targeting of Catholics, where they were they interviewed priests and a choir director, worried about these these strange birds in the Catholic Church that go to the Latin Mass.
Oh, God.
And Merrick Garland presents before a Senate committee, and he's all indignant. Oh, I'm as outraged as you are. Not to mention everything they're doing under the auspices of saving the planet. You've got Horseface over there in Dubai right now prattling on about end days, and if we don't regulate your dishwasher and washing machine and water heater, and if we don't force you to buy a $90,000 EV, and so on and so forth. Right. They're not authoritarians, the ones that are engaged in authoritarian practice. The authoritarian is the guy who runs his mouth on his social media site. Just unbelievable. Alex in Hinsdale.
Good morning, guys. This is a great topic. I'm glad you have it. It's rich for Liz Cheney to sit on MSNBC and talk about an anti-democratic person. Her January 6th committee was led by Thompson, who he voted against the election of Donald Trump on the House floor. He was an election denier.
Yeah, Benny Thompson, right.
Liz.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it ironic that Liz Cheney and the philosopher kings of our day, to quote Plato from the Republic, they have a problem with democracy. They don't want the populace, because they know better than us, to have a vote. If they believe in democracy, then they should have no concern that the person that the majority wants electorally will win.
Thanks for the call, Alex. We got to go. But, that's the point. The left is attempting to save democracy from the people. Work the logic of that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Our own Saca Durban senior senator, working with our junior senator, want to enlist illegal immigrants as the means to get their citizenship. 606.
And snow to rain. Watch for slow travel. A high of 40 degrees today. It's now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Israel's intensifying attacks in southern Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, ordering civilians to evacuate several neighborhoods.
Loud explosions have been reported overnight in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Satellite images appear to show tanks and troops on its doorstep.
Fox's Jonathan Savage.
Yesterday, the State Department said too many civilians have died in Gaza. This morning, a United Nations official warning that for Palestinians caught up in the conflict, nowhere is safe and there is nowhere left to go, adding what she calls an even more hellish scenario is possible.
Now, Fox's Trey Yanks near Gaza reports more fighting on another front.
We're getting this update in from northern Israel right now, indicating that Israeli fighter jets struck a number of Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon after multiple launches were detected earlier today toward the Jewish state.
Now, because of that war in the Middle East, Europe is facing a huge risk of terrorist attacks around Christmas. The warning this morning from the European Home Affairs Commissioner. FBI Director Christopher Wray will testify at the Senate this morning, urging lawmakers to keep a key national security tool in place. Wray plans to say, considering threats like foreign adversaries, Iran, which has gotten more brazen, stripping the FBI of this tool would be disarmament.
That surveillance program expires at the end of this year. It's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. It allows the FBI to track communications between certain foreigners abroad to monitor national security threats. But Americans can get caught up in that, and some lawmakers say that's a problem. They're warning that this system can easily be abused.
Fox's Brooks Singman. What used to be a house in Arlington, Virginia is rubble. It exploded after an hours-long standoff between a man inside who had shot flares at police trying to serve a warrant. 3 officers suffered minor injuries. The man was the only one believed to be in the home at the time. America's listening to Fox News. Snow showers and 35 degrees. 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Chicago Tribune first to report this morning the Manteno Village Board Monday night approved a zoning change on a 5-1 vote that clears the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery manufacturing plant championed by Progressive Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker. A toddler killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana Monday evening. Maryville police say medics arrived on the scene first and then worked on the victim, a 3-year-old boy, in an ambulance before later being transported to Methodist Hospital Southlake. The child was pronounced dead. Construction halted on a tent camp for migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood following release of a report showing the site was contaminated. State paused work on the base camp at 38th and California pending an Illinois EPA review ordered by the governor.
The IEPA, of course, is reviewing that. There's a pause that we put in place pending their review and results of that review, which will come out sometime very soon.
Resident Michael Lynn hopes the project will be shut down for good.
We hope that the result will kill this project because we think it's unfair to put migrants on a site that has an industrial history.
If construction resumes, the motion could be reintroduced. 2 Southern Illinois University students from the Chicago area are dead following a head-on crash near the university's Carbondale campus. Francis Martinez of Des Plaines and Wolf Gustafson of Park Ridge died when a truck they were riding in collided with another truck yesterday. Classes were canceled at several colleges on campus. Blackhawks take on Nashville tonight. The Bulls getting ready for Charlotte tomorrow. Monday Night Football, Cincinnati a 34-31 win over Jacksonville, and the Fighting Illini take on number 9 Florida Atlantic in the Jimmy V Classic tonight. The news service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. now heard right here on AM 560. The Answer at Sunday morning at 6:30. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago this Christmas season on their spectacular annual holiday tour. And AM 560 is giving away tickets. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/Christmas. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra at the Allstate Arena. Go to 560theanswer.com/Christmas.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I want to tell you that Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift for someone you love. I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews. I love that they're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Well, Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? Listen, I've been a customer of Roland's Jewelers for a long time. You should too. They're so impressive. Their staff is expertly trained. I encourage you to visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or visit RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this holiday, just like I do.
6:08. Get an update on the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And we will start on the outbound Dan Ryan, which remains shut down between 18th and the Stevenson. All traffic diverted off onto the Stevenson Expressway because of an investigation into a fatal crash that occurred around 2:30 this morning. State police say the car was involved in an earlier crash. A victim exited the vehicle. They were struck and killed by another driver. And so the ongoing investigation continues on the outbound Dan Ryan. Inbound Dan Ryan, obviously near that outbound Dan Ryan accident investigation. It's all gummed up 30 minutes in from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. The Stevenson already solid. Harlem into Kedzie, and right now 42 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies, a bit of snow, maybe an inch in accumulation, mixing with changing over to some rain. It'll be spotty drizzle by afternoon, high 40. Cloudy tonight, low 30, and then cloudy tomorrow, the high 41. Sunny and mild Thursday, the high 53. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Right now, snow at all reporting stations. O'Hare, Midway, Aurora, DuPage Airport, Morris, Lansing. Temperatures 35. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This speech from Senator Durbin, Sack Durbin, our senior senator here in Illinois, making the rounds yesterday. I don't know. I mean, it's a surprise, I guess, to most of the rest of the country, because why would you pay attention to Dick Durbin unless you had to? So we have. So it's no surprise to us, as we'll get to. But Durbin and Duckworth, because it's her legislation, as you'll hear him describe, has a plan. It's a nice twofer. We'll both solve the issue of mass illegal migration into our country and the recruiting problems the armed services are having in one fell swoop. Take a listen.
Presiding officer, my colleague from the state of Illinois, has legislation which addresses one aspect of that. Her bill, and I hope I describe it accurately, says that if you're an undocumented person in this country and you can pass the physical and the required test, background test, the like, you can serve in our military, and if you do it honorably, we will make you citizens of the United States. Do we need that? Do you know what the recruiting numbers are at the Army and the Navy and the Air Force? They can't reach their quotas each month. They can't find enough people to join our military forces. And there are those who are undocumented who want the chance to serve and risk their lives for this country. Should we give them the chance? I think we should.
What do you think? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I'm speechless right now. First they wanted them to be officers. Remember, Chicago police officers or state troopers or Cook County Sheriff's deputies? And now they want them to serve in our military? If they're here illegally. So they committed a crime by getting to this country. And now they want them, if you know, and then if they do a good job, if you do well, we'll make you an American citizen.
Right.
Is this a clown world we're living in?
We have a recruitment problem. We have a border security problem. We have a migrant problem. This solves both in one fell swoop, as I said, right?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I don't know why people, I don't know why people in Illinois would be surprised by the posture of Durbin and Duckworth, for that matter, but I'm confident that Dreamers will soon have the chance to serve honorably in the armed forces. On that day, America will be a stronger and better country. That was Dick Durbin in 2014.
So he's been beating this drum for a while.
Of course he has. Of course he has. Of course, all these Illinois Pauls have. Where have you been? Oh, I know where the people have been. They've been electing and re-electing them. That's where they've been. And now some of those same people are going to feign outrage? Okay. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. All right, fine. Plead ignorance. Ignorance of political consequences doesn't absolve you of responsibility. Sort of corollary to ignorance of the law doesn't insulate you from consequences. But, yeah, all right.
Well, how about looking for, the reasons for the recruitment problem first, then address that issue first and try and start there?
Well, the reasons for the recruitment problem are the Democrats and politicizing the armed services. So they can't very well talk about that. We'll just solve the problem. And this is a great twofer for us because we look like we're solving a problem that we created, and we're getting the people that came into this country illegally to citizenship, which is what we want, so that we can claim credit for them. We're the reason you're here, and now and get to stay, and so now you're a loyal constituent.
And comments like that, because people are listening, our enemies are listening, and people who are thinking about, should I go, should I cut? That incentivizes them to come to America. I could just see the conversations right now. Honey, I'm going to go. You and the kids stay here. I'm going to go. I'm going to be, sneak in illegally. I'll become, I'll join the military. I'll become a citizen, and then I'll bring you and the rest of the family over.
Well, for the untrained ear, people say, well, yeah, there's a lot of people that want to come to this country, and they're good people, and they want to be an American, and they want to work, and they're happy to serve our country if that provides a pathway to them, and they could turn out to be great Americans. And many people have served in our military who were undocumented, and they're great Americans, or they're great people, and that's true. That's true. But the problem with that logic, because that's the argument you're going to hear from proponents of this, it's the sentimentalist argument. Yeah, why are you demonizing good people? I'm not. I concede the point. There are many good people that come to this country illegal, otherwise good people. There are also many people that come to this country and they set up a burglary ring in Lake County like 3 Colombians did. You see, it's a mixed bag, which is why I continue to try to keep everybody's feet planted on terra firma, which is what we should do. It's a mixed bag, which is why there needs to be a process so you can separate the people that want to come here and set up a burglary ring targeting Asian business owners in Lake County from the people who want to build a life for themselves in America, assimilate, and contribute to the greatness of the country. You see the difference?
Yeah,
you see the
this
problem
is a
we
slap
have?
in the face for the people. Like, I have Argentinian friends who came here legally. I have friends from Serbia who came here legally and eventually became citizens. And we celebrated when they became American citizens, and they worked so hard. And then you have this crap.
Well, here's the other thing about this. By the way, military service is a privilege, not a right. Just ask all the young men who can't qualify for the armed services because they can't meet the physical requirements or because they have a criminal record. And so now think about that. So if you're an American and you got, hit with a drug possession charge, you're not going to be serving in the military. But if you came here illegally, which is a crime, then we're going to look the other way because we have a recruitment issue. So an American who has a blot on his criminal record is bounced. but a foreign national isn't. It used to be Democrats were just treating foreign nationals like they were citizens. Now it's actually prioritizing foreign nationals over citizens. Mac in the 219, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
First of all, anything that comes out of Dick Durbin's mouth that he wants to do, I don't want to have anything to do with. Secondly, if your first move to help the United States of America is to break the law, I want to do less with you. And third, all you dorks from Illinois with your Illinois plates coming into my beloved state of Indiana, get the hell out of here. We don't want you here. Go to Iowa, try to find Amy's relatives, and live in their garage. But stay out of Indiana, you morons from Illinois. We do not want you.
Well, Mac, I appreciate your Hoosier passion, but let's remember, the people that are fleeing Illinois for places like Northwest Indiana, Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and so on and so forth. The people fleeing are, by and large, people with a center-right perspective who are not criminally insane. So they're going to add to the rich tapestry of Northwest Indiana on balance. So just keep that in mind. If you're fleeing, that means, you've sort of gotten hip to the reality of what's going on, and you're not a fan.
And
right?
you don't have to go to Utah. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just in case. Places closer to Illinois.
Pat, Lockport.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. To begin with, Durbin is nothing but a complete moronic ass. And furthermore, why are our military numbers down? How many thousands were dismissed because they wouldn't take the death jab because of a mandate and not a law?
Right, that's another reason.
Yeah, and then how many people have lost faith in our military because of the BS that they foisted on our service people? That man is out of his cotton-picking mind. You take a lawbreaker, like you just said, Dad, and put it into the military to defend us? What are what the hell are you drinking? Give me some, because I got to get on board with this.
Thanks for the call, Pat.
I mean, if they're not from here, are they going to give their whole heart? I mean, are they going to? I don't know. Just they shouldn't be in that position anyway.
It's not to make a categorical statement. I'm sure some would and some have. That's not the point. That doesn't win the argument, because you have all this other collateral damage that you're not considering, which is why, very simple, there has to be processes. Not a revolutionary idea, very basic, but sentimentality overwhelms the good sense of men and women on the left. Bill Malugin is at the border, where he can often be found. Fox News reporter, does really good reporting at the border.
Oh, yeah, the hot spot now is Lukesville.
Lukeville, Arizona, yeah, which is, as Malugin reported, the area sees thousands of illegal crossings daily from around the globe. It's part of the Tucson sector. Saw a record-setting 17,500 illegal crossings last week.
Yeah, just last week, guys, 17.5K.
You know what you need down there? You need to get some armed services recruiting tables set up.
Oh, there you go, Dad.
Process them right in.
And they're coming here. I mean, Governor Abbott, just in Texas, that's not Arizona, but in Texas, they're sending 20,000 more here to Chicago.
Perfect.
When's enough, guys?
Perfect timing.
Yeah, we could set up an Army recruitment, the Marines. Yeah.
We're getting our act together here.
Yeah.
Base camps are moving.
Maybe SpaceX, they could join that.
Carl and Marionette Park.
Morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Thanks for taking my call. There's so much to absorb. You said so much, and it really gets my blood pressure going through the roof. I just wanted to make a comment about that nasty Dick Durbin and his sidekick, Duckworthless. And I recently read an article. It was from August of 2021, and Durbin blocked Freedom of Information Act about the flights to Epstein's Island. We want to know who the pedophiles are, and Durbin is protect them. Durbin has no morals, no character, no value, no integrity, and I don't know why people keep re-electing him. He's nothing but a piece of garbage. I just had to get this off my chest, Dan and Amy. Thank you for taking my call.
Anything to relieve your blood pressure. Thanks for the call,
and
Carl.
if you
yeah,
look
why? Wait, where's the Chicago Press Corps asking about Durbin's
proposal? Yeah.
Well, his obstinance when it comes to unearthing Epstein-related files, since he was a known trafficker of young girls. It is curious. So, who's being protected? Since we have Ghislaine Maxwell in jail, Jeffrey Epstein in hell, and no clients.
Why is he blocking the Epstein flight logs? I don't know.
Ashley, Southside.
Simple question to ask.
Hi, I'm actually running against Robin Kelly for the 2nd Congressional House seat, and I have a sister who's in the Navy and a brother who just recently got out of the Air Force. I would never vote to allow illegals to serve in such a prestigious way as in our United States military. Now, if you want to come here legally and do it, absolutely. If you want to serve the country and prove that you actually love this country and want to be here, of course, but absolutely not. We should not be promoting bad behavior, and that the allocation of resources, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't balance out.
Ashley Ramos, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, I just might get your full name out there for people that might be interested in your candidacy. Ashley Ramos, Southside, 2nd Congressional District, running against Robin Kelly. Thanks, Ashley.
Oh, Robin.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I mean, I don't even want to.
Part of the wonderful power structure.
Wow. I mean, just.
Yeah.
Every press conference I'd go to, I would just sit there like dumbfounded more and more each time.
She may
wow.
She may replace Durbin.
Oh, she's not. There's no way.
Sure, there's a way. I mean,
Well-
he's not running again, and I think she's going to make an effort. Sure.
Who else is going to run?
John in Elmhurst.
Kwame Raoul.
Oh.
Yeah, Kwame Raoul could be one. It might be crowded, at least initially. Go ahead, John.
Well, I think it's not just what I think. It's clearly that they hate us. Not just the Democrats, but the politicians, but the environmentalists. And if they don't hate us, there's great disdain. And then everybody else in government and politics is just concerned about their pensions and their salary. Period.
Thanks for the call, John. Catherine, formerly of DuPage County.
Good morning. And to the Indiana guy, I made an intentional decision to become a Hoosier. So, white flag up. My son is a Marine stationed overseas, and he's putting his plan together to escape and get out of there because it's so awful right now. There's standards, but the standards are not held up. There's obese people that you wonder how they've made the physical exams, how they've passed them, what all they have to do like on a monthly basis. So they're just doubling down on stupid with continuing to destroy the military that is there for us for our protection.
Thanks for the call, Catherine. Chris, Lake Zurich.
Yeah, hey Dan, this is Chris Wagner from Lake Zurich. Hey, my son to join the Army just a little over a year ago. They made him jump through so many hoops. He had to clean up his credit record. He had to take care of all of his legal matters, right down to traffic tickets before they would accept him. And this guy wants to just let him in after they've crossed the border illegally.
That's about the sum of it. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Chris. That's the size of it with our very own Sack of Durbin. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. They're a bank with roots right here in Chicago, and their decisions are made locally, too. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank. We'd like to wish you happy holidays from our Signature Bank family to your family.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. You have a true partnership with a team that is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago. Signature Bank is wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Ouch. Do you have cold floors when you wake up and jump out of bed? Well, the problem is probably in the basement or crawl space. Permaseal can now help make your basement and crawl space warmer and therefore your upstairs more comfortable with their new product, PermaFoam Insulation. Permaseal can spray this insulating foam between your floor joists, which will not only increase your energy efficiency, but also stop insects, rodents, mold, and mildew resistant. Oh, yes, this is the real stuff. Rim joist spray, which Justin Kosick loves to talk about, can be installed in just one day and is twice as effective as the old-fashioned fiberglass bats. For more than 40 years, 500,000 homeowners across Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana have trusted Permaseal to make their home healthier and more valuable. Save money and be more comfortable. Call Permaseal today to schedule a free evaluation, 800-421-SEAL, or visit permaseal.net. Permaseal, known best for being better.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking Balance of Nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking Balance of Nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take Balance of Nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Homeowners experiencing low water pressure, rusty yellow water, little to no hot water, or pressure so low that showering is difficult?
Honey, don't flush. I'm in the shower.
These are all symptoms of clogged and corroded galvanized water pipes that are filled with gunk older than you. You should see it. It's disgusting. You drink it, brush your teeth with it, and bathe in it. Yuck. For your family's sake, repipe your home with quality PEX or copper pipes from All Affordable Plumbing. We're your local, family-owned and operated repiping expert. We can repipe your home in 1 to 3 days with minimal disturbance, and we include a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, we're offering 12-month no-interest, no-payment financing and a free water heater. So if you have low water pressure, call for a free in-home estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. That's 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. If you have low water pressure, a copper repipe will get you flowing again. Call for a free estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE. That's 800-NEW-PIPE.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll review the twaddle from Ibram Kendi at his recent Netflix film screening with retired psychiatrist Theodore Dalrymple. That's 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Snow showers and 34. Commuters beware, Dan Ryan outbound remains closed. It has for a couple of hours now between 18th and the Stevenson. All traffic diverted off at the Stevenson because of a fatal crash. Investigation. With a temporary truce no longer in effect, Israel is said to be considering a plan to flood Hamas's network of tunnels beneath Gaza. The move could make them unusable for the Palestinian terror group. An Arizona border crossing is closed down until further notice. Customs and Border Protection recently announced the Lukeville port of entry, southwest of Tucson, would be shut down to vehicle and pedestrian traffic. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, along with former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy, are set to take the debate stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for that event tonight. Former President Trump will once again not be present, but will host another event. A shark attack has claimed the life of an American woman in the Bahamas. Officials there say the woman from Boston was paddleboarding with a relative near a resort when the attack took place. The Chicago Tribune was first to report that the Manteno Village Board last night approved a zoning change on a 5-1 vote that clears the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery plant that has been championed by Governor J.B. Pritzker. A toddler was killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana Monday evening, according to Maryville police. Construction is halted on a tent camp for migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood following release of a report showing the site was contaminated.
The IEPA, of course, is reviewing that. There's a pause that we put in place pending their review and results of that review, which will come out sometime very soon.
The governor saying the study did find a number of heavy metals and toxic chemicals were present. As a result, Cook County judge dismissed a lawsuit seeking to stop the migrant camp from being built for the time being, and if construction resumes, that motion could be reintroduced. Chicago sports, Blackhawks trying to avoid a fourth consecutive loss when they host Nashville tonight. Monday Night Football, Cincinnati, an overtime win over Jacksonville. College hoops tonight, number 18 Illinois takes on number 10 Florida Atlantic. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2024? Yeah, that sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what AM 560, The Answer, wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th, and you can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year. Go to 560 The Answer.
It's the sultry robe with the satin keepsake bag. That's 4 deluxe gifts, quickly delivered to your door, ready to go under the tree. So if you want to win the holidays, go to pajamagram.com today and get the smooth seduction satin nightie and robe with free eye mask and a keepsake bag. But hurry, order today before it sells out. That's pajamagram.com for the smooth seduction satin gift set.
The holidays. Back again. Visiting with family and friends this time of year can bring great joy and happiness. But it also can unfortunately bring stress, hypertension, and overeating, all of which can make your blood pressure skyrocket. High blood pressure is one of the world's leading risk factors for death and disability, and often leads to stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. That's why Chicago's very own Ira Antelis developed 120 Life, a juice drink and powder that lowers your blood pressure naturally. I'm drinking it, I love it, and it works like a charm for me. And for those with diabetes, the powdered form of 120 Life has just 1 gram of sugar. If you suffer from high blood pressure around the holidays or whenever, give 120 Life a try. It's a fantastic alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. Order today at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout. Save 15%. From all of us at 560 AM, my friends at 120 Life, have a wonderful holiday season, and please don't overeat.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Wednesday, the final GOP debate of the year is on News Nation, America's fastest-growing cable news network. SiriusXM's Megyn Kelly, News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas, and the Washington Free Beacon's Eliana Johnson moderate a live primetime event from the University of Alabama as the candidates make their case to America on the only network for all America, the News Nation Republican Primary Debate. Live Wednesday, 8 Eastern. To find News Nation on your TV, go to joinnn.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
It is 6:40. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Outbound Dan Ryan remains shut down due to a fatal accident investigation. All traffic diverted off onto the Stevenson Expressway. Inbound Edens, 35 Lake Cook Road to the junction, the Kennedy. Slippery and slow, 68 now from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Traffic, a service of Boost Infinite. Visit boostinfinite.com or go to amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Snow changing over to rain as temperatures elevate through the day. We'll top out at 40, mostly cloudy, and 30 overnight. Light snow at all reporting stations, 34 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Should Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, should he move forward with the impeachment inquiry? He says he has the votes. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Should Republicans be sensitive about the politics, or should they move forward in the direction of the evidence? Jim Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, provided an update yesterday about said evidence. Take a listen.
President Joe Biden claimed there was an absolute wall between his official government duties and his family's influence peddling schemes. This was a lie. President Joe Biden claimed his family didn't receive money from China. This was a lie. President Joe Biden claimed he never spoke to his son, Hunter Biden, about the Biden's family's shady business dealings. This was a lie. Now, Hunter Biden's legal team and the White House's media allies claim Hunter's corporate entities never made payments directly to Joe Biden. We can officially add this latest talking point to the list of lies. Today, the House Oversight Committee is releasing subpoenaed bank records that show Hunter Biden's business entity, Owasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. This wasn't a payment from Hunter Biden's personal account, but an account for his corporation that received payments from China and other shady corners of the world. At this moment, Hunter Biden is under an investigation by the Department of Justice for using Owasco PC for tax evasion and other serious crimes. And based on whistleblower testimony, we know the Justice Department made a concerted effort to prevent investigators from asking questions about Joe Biden. I wonder why. The more we learn, it appears the Justice Department was trying to cover up for the Bidens until brave IRS whistleblowers came forward and a federal judge rejected the sweetheart plea deal. Payments from Hunter's business entity to Joe Biden are now part of a pattern revealing Joe Biden knew about, participated in, and benefited from his family's influence peddling schemes. When Joe Biden was vice president, he spoke by phone, attended dinners, and had coffee with his son's foreign business associates. He allowed his son to catch a ride on Air Force Two at least a dozen times to sell the Biden brand around the world. Hunter Biden requested office keys to be made for his office mate, Joe Biden, in space he planned to share with a Chinese energy company. We've revealed how Joe Biden received checks from his family that were funded by the Biden's influence peddling schemes with China, no less. The House Oversight Committee continues to investigate Joe Biden's involvement in his family's domestic and international business schemes at a rapid pace. We will continue to uncover the facts and provide transparency about the findings of our investigation.
The monthly payments, that news that broke over the weekend that Comer referred to.
Right.
The Amazon Post reported that they were for a Ford Raptor owned by Joe and used by Hunter.
And that it was a $4,000 a month car payment.
So, really? So, you're going to make your son make monthly payments on a truck you own?
See, that doesn't make sense.
Or this is just another conduit to funnel money to the big guy, Mr. 10%. Comer said it doesn't. He said it's unclear if that's true, but he says it doesn't matter from our perspective. There's now a pattern of members of the Biden family using their bank accounts that have been funded by Chinese interests and other foreign entities to send money to Joe Biden. Right. So, it's the using loans, using vehicles. I mean, I don't know, but the response from the Democrat socialists that there's no there there, that there's no evidence. I mean, if this was a criminal proceeding or even a civil proceeding in a court of law, this is a lot of evidence. This is a lot of circumstantial evidence that demands certain questions be asked and answered. And in the context of impeachment, which is a political proceeding, that is also certainly the case. Speaker Johnson says he has the votes to launch an impeachment inquiry, and he's going to schedule a floor vote before Christmas. Any concerns about that? Are you worried as some, we want Joe Biden to be the nominee, so let's tread lightly and so on and so forth. Do you want to play politics with this, or do you want to go as fast as you can in the direction of the evidence, in following the smoke, as it were? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Just on a ancillary issue, $4,000 a month, isn't that a lot for a car payment loan? I mean, normally isn't it $400, $600 a month, not $4,000? I mean, it adds up. It's
maybe the big guy couldn't put a lot of money down on
it. Well.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got a bad deal with his financing. They should have gone to Wilkins Mazda.
Yeah, there you go, and have some balance of nature on their way. Yes,
right. So why the impeachment inquiry? Just a reminder here. Bill McGurn had a good piece in the Journal about this. McGurn writing, I'll just cite him because he's stated it quite succinctly. Although Congress enjoys subpoena power, that must be used for a legislative purpose. A subpoena issued as part of an impeachment inquiry does not have to satisfy that requirement, and the courts are more deferential. Thus, an official inquiry will make it more difficult for the Biden White House legally to ignore subpoenas, withhold documents, and prevent witnesses from testifying. This was, you'll remember, the argument that was made by Pelosi twice against Trump. So now it applies to Biden Incorporated as well. And so there's a real value to doing this if you want to take this to the next level, if you think the evidence demands that you do. I do. I absolutely do.
But do you think that this will help his campaign or his reelection bid? Biden's.
You think it will help?
No, I'm just asking. Do you think it will? I mean, if he looks like a victim now, oh, look, the government's going after him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could try that. You know, there's a vast right-wing conspiracy business, and I'm being targeted by these Christian nationalists in the House and so on and so forth, and they're a threat to our democracy, and they're trying to take out a duly elected president.
Look at you writing the script already. Keep going.
Well, sure, they could.
Yeah.
He could do that, but do you think that's going to sell? You know, I mean, remember where the opinion polling is on this, whether the majority supports impeaching Biden. I'm sure a majority of Democrats don't, but a majority have already concluded that the Biden family is corrupt and was involved in influence peddling. I mean, the majority of Americans are there, so there's no argument for Republicans, no political argument, not that it should be primarily a political one, it should be an evidentiary one. But there should not be real concern from Republicans. And with respect to Biden trying to spin out of it that way and play the victim, I think that's going to go about as well as his previous spin, which is this is just about a father's love for his troubled son.
Yeah.
People buying that? I don't think so. By the way, John Solomon over at Just the News reporting that those newly disclosed payments we were just discussing occurred while Hunter was still receiving payments from a joint venture with a Chinese company with Communist Party connections. At the same time, Wells Fargo compliance officers were questioning the flow of funds into Hunter's business accounts. So you can go with there's no evidence. You can go with Jamie Raskin's line, but I don't think that the fair-minded person is going to find that particularly persuasive. Dave in Wakanda, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. You know, here's the question. It's not politics that we're going after Biden. It's the security of our nation. And if he's compromised in these fashions, what else can he be possibly compromised with?
Well, right. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dave, but thanks for that. I mean, this is the, sort of easy hypothetical argument to make in response to the skeptic. If you replaced the names Joe and Hunter with Donald and Don Jr., would your opinion be the same? I doubt it. I doubt it for those on the left doing the 3 blind mice routine. I doubt it. By the way, if you don't think that demonization is going to be their strategy, not just directed at Trump, but a la what you heard from Liz Cheney earlier in the program, Mike Johnson, Mike Lee, Josh Hawley, these are all co-conspirators with Donald Trump in ending our republic. Listen to James Carville on Marr show over the weekend, Serpent Head on Marr show about Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson and what he believes is one of the greatest threats we have today to the United States. When I promise you, I know these people.
Well, you're talking about Christian nationalism.
Absolutely.
Talking about
this is a bigger threat than Al Qaeda
to
this country.
God.
Let me tell you something. They're Speaker of the House. They got probably at least 2 Supreme Court justices, maybe more. Right? Don't kid yourself. And people in the press have no idea who this guy is, how he was formed, what the threat is, and this is a fundamental threat to the United States. It is a fundamental. They don't believe in the Constitution.
Calm down. Go shine your bald head. I mean, come on.
Right. What can you say about that? But just so you know what's coming, Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson, is a bigger threat to America than was Osama bin Laden. Bigger threat than Al-Qaeda. That's what Carville says.
And people are clapping like trained seals.
Exactly like trained seals. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's hard to believe, but 2024 will be here soon. Before you get caught up in all the busy holiday season shopping and whatnot, ask yourself, what are you doing now to put your retirement in a better position for the future? Sean Thompson here from my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group. Tom has prepared a 2023 year-end planning report. This report will show you ways to reduce your tax burden on your retirement savings, income strategies that don't depend on a volatile market, and ideas on how to protect and pass down assets to your loved ones. Tom has been helping build financial plans for retirements for over 2 decades, and he's sharing his knowledge and experience in this report. Call Tom today at 630-934-1855 and ask for the 2023 year-end planning report. That's 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour right here on AM 560 The Answer, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking Balance of Nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking Balance of Nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take Balance of Nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious. It works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
That depth charge means it's time for in-depth history with Frank from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world, just the history we don't know. Frank has a comparison between a seminal diplomat who just passed and one from a bygone era. Frank, take it away.
Good morning. In 1754, Charles Maurice du Périgord de Talleyrand was born in Paris to aristocratic parents who spent much of their time at Versailles in Louis XV's court. So much time, in fact, that while his nanny was tending to him as an infant, he fell off a dresser, injuring his foot. Embarrassed, the nanny tried to heal the wound herself, resulting in a club foot for Talleyrand. Nonetheless, raised by his grandmother and parents, and designated for a church career, he survived the French Revolution's terror phases and emerged as a great diplomat, saving France from being dismantled by the other powers at the Congress of Vienna. In 1923, Henry Kissinger was born to Jewish German parents who saw what was coming and fled Germany for the United States a few weeks before the Kristallnacht in 1938. After serving his adopted country as an interpreter in World War II, Kissinger excelled at Harvard, writing the book A World Restored for his doctoral dissertation. About the Congress of Vienna, this tome pushed the door wide open for him, as he served as National Security Advisor under Nixon and Secretary of State under Ford. Being an integral part of the opening of China, SALT I negotiations with the Soviet Union, and the Paris Peace Accords in 1973, Kissinger was a key architect of the Pax Americana. There is no doubt that both of these great diplomats, Talleyrand and Kissinger, despite the mistakes they made, were giants on the world stage. Both went through early struggles, persevered, and had an impact on their times.
You know what Metternich said about Talleyrand when Talleyrand passed? Do you know that one, Frank?
No, I don't know that one.
He said, now, what could that old fox mean by that? Good one, Metternich. You know, little professional courtesy, right? Yeah, there's nothing better than humor related to foreign diplomats. I mean, that's a great area of humor.
You guys are going to be at Zany's this weekend. Huh?
Wow. Yeah, we do a great ham and egg routine.
You
it's
too.
Vaudeville.
Frank and Dan. Wop, 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 wop.
When Talleyrand died, Voltaire, when he died, allegedly he confessed because Voltaire was an atheist. Talleyrand too, and Talleyrand, from all the reports that I've read about him, did not confess. He just held firm to his lack of a belief in a God. So
the other thing about Kissinger too, I mean, we haven't talked a lot about it, but Kissinger was a virulent anti-communist, but he also his triangulation of the great powers to avoid conflict with the great powers, whereas what we see today from the foreign policy blob seems to have us careening toward conflict with the great powers. It's almost 180 degrees from the approach that Kissinger took.
Well, one would think we'd want to, divide China and Russia, essentially. One would think. You don't want to have Eurasia united. That should be our foreign policy. It's the number one foreign policy goal, according to George Friedman. So, we're not triangulating today. It certainly seems like it. So,
Frank from Arlington Heights, In-Depth History. Thanks so much, Frank. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank you. And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07 now, we'll get to that Ibram Kendi Netflix film screening, 7:07.
Today, snow and some rain. Watch for slow travel. A high of 40 degrees. It is now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A new plan to flush out Hamas in Gaza? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israel's considering, according to the Wall Street Journal, flooding Hamas's underground tunnels with water from the Mediterranean Sea.
They have reportedly placed 5 large pumps near the Shati camp in the northern part of Gaza, and they're waiting to see if they'll actually move forward with this plan. But it is significant to discuss because if they do this, it would destroy the tunnel network, but it also risks damaging significant infrastructure across Gaza and possibly damaging the fresh water that civilians used to drink there.
Fox's Trey Yanks near the border with Gaza, where Israel's intensifying attacks on Han Yunis, a community in the south, ordering civilians to evacuate. But some Palestinians say there's nowhere to go, and a UN official says the humanitarian situation is getting worse. A European Union commissioner is warning the war has led to a huge risk of a terrorist attack in Europe around Christmas. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will talk to U.S. senators today in a classified briefing, urging them to approve more military aid after the White House warned already approved funding will run out this month, kneecapping Ukraine in the war against Russia. The Senate is considering a bundled aid package for Israel and Ukraine.
But Senate Republicans have said they won't agree to pass it unless there's substantial border policy changes. A source tells Fox News border negotiations have been moving in the wrong direction. Some Republican demands include raising the standards to claim asylum.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. It'll be down to just 4 candidates on stage tomorrow for the 4th Republican presidential debate. And once again, the front runner, former President Trump, will be a no-show, leaving Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley to spar over who's the best alternative. Florida's governor tells Fox.
I have more similarities on policy with Donald Trump than I do on Nikki Haley.
Now, Haley says she'll lead a new generation of conservatives. Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy will also be on stage tonight. There will be a Trump town hall from Iowa on Fox News Channel, 9 p.m. Eastern. America's listening to Fox News.
Light snow showers. 34 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Chicago Tribune first to report that the Manteno Village Board last night approved a zoning change that clears the way on a 5-1 vote for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery plant that has been championed by Governor J.B. Pritzker. A toddler killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana. Maryville police saying medics arrived on the scene first and began working on the victim, a 3-year-old, before transporting him to Methodist Hospital Southlake. The child later pronounced dead. Construction is halted on a tent camp for migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood. The state paused work at the base camp at 38th in California.
The IEPA, of course, is reviewing that. There's a pause that we put in place pending their review and results of that review, which will come out sometime very soon.
Studies have found a number of heavy metals and toxic chemicals present on that property. 2 Southern Illinois University students from the Chicago area are dead. It follows a head-on crash near the university's Carbondale campus. Francis Martinez of Des Plaines and Wolf Gustafson of Park Ridge died when a truck they were riding in collided with another vehicle. A shakeup in the jury in the federal trial of longtime Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. One of the jurors was removed from that case yesterday because of an illness. She was replaced on that panel by an alternate. A Naperville woman is charged with murdering a man over the weekend at a hotel in Oakbrook Terrace. Latrice Phillips shot and killed Calvin Truitt, according to prosecutors, Saturday night at the Oakbrook Suites Hotel. Investigators determined the shooting followed an argument and fight. Blackhawks and Nashville at the UC tonight. Monday Night Football, Cincinnati a comeback 34-31 win over Jacksonville. The news service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago this Christmas season on their spectacular annual holiday tour. And AM 560 is giving away tickets. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/Christmas. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra at the All-State Arena. Go to 560theanswer.com/Christmas.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
Hi, my name is Peg. I'm a wife, mother, and grandmother. I love being with family. We have so much fun doing things together, and that is really the priority of my life. Family is so important to me, and I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to do the things that I enjoy doing with all of them. I try and exercise and eat well, and balance of nature just helps me to put it all together and take me over the top. I really am happy that I came across it, and I've been taking it for probably 5 years, and I will continue to take it. I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
5:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time starts in Mokina with a bad accident, 191st and LaGrange Road. Tri-State, they're pulling a disabled vehicle out of your way southbound on 294 just after Crawford. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, stop and go jam northbound between Bryn Mawr and Hollywood. Bishop Ford and I-57 slow into the Ryan merge. The Ryan 35 in from 95th to the Burns Circle interchange. The outbound Dan Ryan still shut down. You're diverted off at the Stevenson because of an accident investigation, an earlier fatal accident from around 2:30 this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies, a bit of rain and snow today. Could see about an inch in accumulation. Some spotty drizzle for the afternoon. The high today 40. Cloudy tonight, low 30. Clouds tomorrow, the high 41. Sunny, mild day on Thursday, the high at 53. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Light snow across the area. 34 O'Hare, 35 Midway, 32 Aurora, 33 at DuPage Airport. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Fear not the DIE movement, the diversity officers on college campuses, and by extension, throughout the rest of society. I know there's some clawback happening, but culturally, as we'll hear momentarily, the press from the identitarian left has not relented an iota. Mitchell Chang is a DIE officer at UCLA. Republicans don't fear DIE, or DEI, but, you know, DIE is
like DIE, yeah.
DIE is more Dickensian.
I'm not going to fear death? What? No.
Don't fear DEI. Diversity offices like mine could only wish to be that influential. Don't fear us because even though we're peddling intellectual poison, we're not that powerful. That's a real argument. Of course, that's not what he's saying. But, I mean, the idea is we're not powerful, so you shouldn't fear us. Well, what if you were? Should we then? Because what's the underlying intellectual value of what you're doing? What does it contribute, or what harm does it do? That's the question, not how much sway you have. But anyway, let's hear him out. Wrote this op-ed. I, too, would be fearful of DIE if offices that oversee a wide range of those efforts to indoctrinate, as has been accused, to install indoctrinators, as has been accused. I, too, would be fearful if DIE offices that oversee a wide range of those efforts were actually guilty of such serious charges. However, those fears are more imagined than real based on what I've experienced in my more than 30 years of studying higher education and 2 years working at UCLA's DIE office. 30 years of studying higher education hasn't picked up on anything that's concerning. Interesting, given what we're seeing on college campuses after the October 7th terrorist attack in Gaza, but okay. DIE offices on college campuses, writes Mr. Chang, do not have special superpowers that ensure transformative influence as claimed by critics. These offices have had a relatively short history and must operate within a context shaped by multiple competing internal and external forces. It's just such a specious argument, which you would sort of actually expect from a DIE officer, particularly one who's studied colleges, higher education for 3 decades and hasn't picked up on any problems afoot. Anyway, the argument goes, we're not as transformative as we want to be, so don't fear us. What? Okay. There's these dynamics and also this. Moreover, according to Inside Higher Ed, I'm sure, there's a high turnover rate among chief diversity officers, and these positions can be isolating, emotionally taxing, and not taken seriously. Gee, why wouldn't they be taken seriously?
You're asking for people to take you seriously. Okay, go on.
Universities must comply with civil rights legislation, and some diversity offices were established because of failures to do so, and so on and so forth. I gave you essentially the thrust of his argument. Don't fear us because we're not as strong as we want to be, so you have nothing to worry about. Well, they're stronger than he represents. The cultural zeitgeist certainly is. Ibram Kenry, don't call him Henry Rogers, his real name, Ibram Kendi, who has that Center for Anti-Racism at Boston University was under, and then it disappeared, all kinds of scrutiny for financial mismanagement, had academics, such as they are, to work at something ridiculous like that, to complete charlatans. But those that were employed there left under Kendi's tutelage, raising questions about how money was spent and so on and so forth, not to mention what scholarship was produced. But Kendi is a cause célèbre because of his How to Be an Anti-Racist, which was translated in children's books and infused into K-12 school systems around the country, including throughout Chicagoland, as we've discussed. Cause célèbre, so what do you get? Well, you get sinecures like this Center for Anti-Racism at Boston U, and you also get Netflix deals, like the Obamas. So he's got a new movie out that Netflix recently posted called Stamped from the Beginning. And if you're wondering what that's about, you want to gather the family around the Netflix stream and take a run at Stamped from the Beginning. Here's Ibram Kendi at a screening giving you a little preview of what you'll find in that film, what you found from him since his ascendancy in the last 5 to 7 years in the move of Black Lives Matter and rioting as legitimate forms of protest and identitarianism writ large. The reparations plays, all of these other things, all of these other things that are afoot. Kendi is one of the beneficiaries, one of the prime hustlers.
I don't think white people worldwide have really reckoned with how much their own personal identity is shaped by constructions of whiteness, and how much that construction of whiteness prevents white people from connecting to humanity. In other words, recognizing that when you recognize that you are part and parcel of humanity, in other words, you're not over humanity, right? It allows you to really be able to connect to people who don't look like you, who have kinky hair, who have dark skin, and to see yourself in them. And it's whiteness that prevents that, right? And when you're not able to see yourself in other human beings, that creates all sorts of problems. But not just societal problems, personal problems that I think hopefully this film and this work will liberate those folks from. So I think it's liberating all the way around, right? I think it will liberate, really all of us because, we've all been told a lie about ourselves and other people.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Powerful. Yeah, he's not
a changed woman.
He's not a sophist at all. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 646-36DA, turnkey.pro, text line. Stand from the beginning, watch it, recognize your whiteness, prevents you from human connections, and be liberated from your whiteness. Liberation, says Hank Rogers. This is everywhere, right? It still is. I know there are, sort of competing pathologies afoot in our politics, and so maybe the race hustle has fallen a few pegs in the ranking recently. But, and I know, as I said, there's some clawback on DI officers and sensitivity training and the sort of the race hustle in corporate America, but it's still there. They're not just rolling over. And the propaganda that Kendi produces, as I said, is in the schools. And, he's paid handsomely to come speak on college campuses to peddle the poison you just heard.
What a racket. So many text messages. Dan and Amy, he's such a racist fraud. I can't stand it. Another one, he's like a fish that doesn't recognize the water he swims in.
Well, now you know where BLM Brandon gets it, right? that honky Republicans are just upset that a black man is free. We haven't gotten over slavery, even though, sort of
Democrats who didn't get over the Civil War, but okay.
Well, right, and so even though essentially the party's founding father, Abraham Lincoln, was the great emancipator, but I digress. These are minor historical points in the face of Ibram Kendi's deep thinking about race. Whiteness prevents you from being human. It prevents you from connecting to people who look differently than you, and the caricatures. We can't. I don't. If I look at somebody that has a different hairstyle than I have, then I can't connect with them. I mean, who lives like he describes? Really, I want to know. That would be my. When he speaks. I mean, he never debates. John McWhorter, the deep intellect, who's a linguistics professor at Columbia, and others have openly asked him to debate. These guys don't debate.
No.
They won't engage with those who think differently because they're there for what you just heard at that Netflix film screening. They're there for those trained SEALs to applaud at the express their white guilt and demonstrate their deference to these race hustlers.
I know. He won't talk to any of his critics because,
because
it's discuss it with woke supporters. That's all he could do because his positions are indefensible.
Yes, basically. But hey, they're indefensible and very lucrative.
Yeah, it's a moneymaker. Shaking the moneymaker.
David in Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you? So from a displaced last relationship, I'm staying in a hotel in Libertyville, and I meet a gal. She's a colored, but she's straight out of Compton. And I'm a nice white Jewish boy that grew up in the suburbs. So she's introduced me now to her whole family. I've been over there a few times in Waukegan. I'm literally the only white guy in the room. And it's just funny, the interaction to see, how can I say this? It takes time to learn. You're literally like, I have a translator. There's a translator. He stands right next to me. Like, when I'm in the conversation, trying to follow along. And, the whole thing has just been such a dichotomy of whatever, but I'm trying to get them to just put cameras in their place. They don't have to do anything but put cameras in and roll them because it's gold. And just gold. It's just been such an amazing experience of it all, and nothing that person, whatever his name is, Hendy and whatever, we all get along. I mean, there's just nothing but love.
So you're going out with a black woman. And
you're a Jewish white dude from the suburbs,
and the nice one at that,
and a nice Jewish boy, and the family has embraced you, and you have these interactions that are, I don't know, of a cultural exchange variety, sort of the way you're describing it, when you visit with them.
Correct, and I got to say this one part, and not only do they embrace me, they agree with me. So what I mean by that is, so the gal works in the evening. She had to go to work, and I was over there with. Actually, I took my friend Pete with me. He's a white dude too, and he came back to me at one point and said, "He goes, I just had a conversation. I think, and so, but anyways, we
okay. So you're like Barbara Billingsley in Airplane. Okay. All right.
Correct.
All right, David. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Right. It's different strokes. Theme song here against the backdrop of David's little vignette, but it's just like, who wants to live their life the way that Ibram Kendi and Ta-Nehisi Coates and Robin DiAngelo and the variety of these other race hustlers, Brandon Johnson, lives their lives, where you go around, and I don't even know if they actually live their lives like this. Like I said, I mean, it's a hustle. But you go around, being suspicious, dare I say, afraid of the honkies that you come across because they, according to you, don't have the ability to connect with you as a fellow human being. I mean, who actually lives like that? And to the extent that there are any people that do, what a way to live your life.
I mean, he's got to realize he's living a lie, right? But he's doing it for the money.
Well, it just speaks to this whole the infrastructure that they've built. Thank you, corporate America. Thank you, higher education. Thank you, government schools at the K through 12 level. The whole thing is the equivalent of FTX. It's a fiction. It's a big fraud. These are just fraudsters. But they have audience. And they get people to behave in ways that I can only assume go against their better judgment. It's sad, actually. He's a pathetic figure. And so are the people that applaud him. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news. From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified before, even to those with high income levels. And this year, you can purchase a multi-state PPO policy, which includes access to Northwestern Medical Group, as well as other teaching hospitals around the nation. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 25-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than 10 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
I want to tell this story about when I was thinking about Haiti and food for the poor, and I know that I was there in 2017, and when we were driving to one of the villages, I saw, I don't know why I don't, this is so, I saw two boys sitting in their little hut near the side of the road, and I asked them, I asked the driver, I'm like, can you please pull over? And they were just waiting. Through the transfer, I found out that they were waiting for their mom to come back because she hikes into the city center to get food for them. And I had a plate on my lap, and I just gave it to them. I just felt sick. But those two kids were asking for $80 to feed two children.
I hope it wasn't your cooking.
No, but it could be those two children. Like
it's
the
amazing
$80.
That it was amazing that you were able to connect with Haitian children.
Well,
because they're black.
Oh, stop it. But no, food knows no color boundaries. That's for sure. So but I gave them my meal, and I thought, you know what? And they had the smiles on their face, and they were so happy, and it was just wonderful because it was a nice meal. It had chicken and some, salad. It was just great, and they had their faces. They were so happy. So what we're asking, feed those two kids. We're just asking for $80, and that will feed two children for an entire year. That's why I donate every year to Food for the Poor. I call the number 844-862-4673. Again, 844-862-4673. It takes just minutes. The operators are there. They'll take your credit card information. Boom, you're done, and you're going to help feed two kids for an entire year. That's $80. Or for $320, you could feed 8 children for 1 year. So 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. We've teamed up once again with Food for the Poor because they work directly with their partners on the ground, and the money goes to these feeding centers. It also helps build water wells in their villages in Latin America and the Caribbean to help them survive, because this is real life. And ultimately, if there's Food for the Poor wasn't there, kids would starve. So the number again is 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
We're also doing our business benefactor program again this year in partnership with Food for the Poor, and we've had a number of area businesses sign up already. We appreciate Jeff Tischler, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech. My friend Jerry Byrne and his Marshall Pearson Company, Fine Jewelry and Luxury Watches on the Mag Mile downtown. Chris Jacobs of Century 21 Circle in Inverness. Waukegan Roofing, Brewsher Machining Incorporated, and many others. To join these enlightened businesses, what you do is make a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And we here at AM 560 will give you 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves Monday through Friday, prime broadcast hours, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. That is the best deal from a marketing perspective in all of Chicago radio. And at the same time, You'll be providing life-saving food for a year, for more than 65 children in Haiti. To become a business benefactor, just call Anjanette. She's our general sales manager. Her number is 847-472-8951. Again, that's Anjanette at 847-472-8951 to become a business benefactor.
And we want to thank you in advance for your generosity.
Are you a driver of a Ford PowerStroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford PowerStroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford PowerStroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
All right, so when you give your body the best possible fuel, you have more energy, you're stronger, you think more quickly. So feel good that you're doing something for yourself. That's what I heard from one customer from Balance of Nature who takes it. I saw her at the gym, and she told me that. She's like, I am doing something for myself, and I feel good about that because I don't get enough fruits and veggies on my own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition. So get the nutrition your body needs because you have to admit you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. So here's the number to call, 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. The discount code is back, discount code Chicago. Got that? Discount code Chicago. Or go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
And Dan, just so you know, the two Haitian boys I was talking about, I'm posting on Twitter now pictures. So these are actual children that are being helped by Food for the Poor. So I'll tweet that out. And if you'd like to follow me, Dan, you can follow me at Amy Jacobson, Jacobson, because you're not doing that yet.
No, I think I'm following Walter Jacobson instead.
Oh, exactly.
You can only fail so many Jacobsons. That's your dad, right? Walter?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Here's a good story.
Yes.
Mitchell Robinson is the pride of Chalmette High School in Louisiana and Western Kentucky University. Now he plays for the New York Knicks. You know, talk about and we've had some difficult stories about coaches and players. Here's a great story about a coach and a player. So Mitchell Robinson is playing for the Knicks. His high school coach is a gentleman named William Butch Stockton. And Coach Stockton recently lost his wife, and he explained what Mitchell Robinson did for him, his former player.
And he's doing a wonderful job with that. Now, let's get back to the fact that you two are roommates this season. How did that come together?
You know, first of all, my wife passed away in September. And Mitchell, my wife's in the hospital. Mitchell came each day to visit her and came very close to myself and my wife. And after the funeral, Mitchell told everyone that he was going to bring me to New York with him. He said, because there's no reason you stay down here in Louisiana anymore. You come to New York with me and enjoy yourself and get your mind back straight because you know how much you loved your wife, how much I loved your wife. And it's just been a great situation.
Oh, that is the nicest gift a player could give to his coach.
And you're going to be shocked to learn that Mitchell Robinson is black and Coach Stockton is white. And despite Coach Stockton's whiteness, they were still able to connect as human beings, despite what Ibram Kendi says.
Don't tell Ibram Kendi about that.
Yeah, right.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
And good for Mitchell Robinson, by the way. Another, we tell so many sports and politics usually about athletes and idiocy, and this is the opposite, so good for him. Coming up at 7:37, our weekly confab with Ted Dabrowski, Illinois Wire Points, all things Illinois policy related, and some developments in that Goshen location in Manteno. We'll start there, 7:37.
And also why the construction stopped in Brighton Park. It seems Johnson and Pritzker are fighting, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:32 on AM 560, The Answer. 33 degrees and snow showers Israel reportedly has a plan to flood Hamas's network of tunnels beneath the Gaza Strip.
We are following this report from the Wall Street Journal indicating that Israel is considering flooding the tunnel network, at least of northern Gaza, with seawater from the Mediterranean Sea. They have reportedly placed 5 large pumps near the Shati camp in the northern part of Gaza, and they're waiting to see if they'll actually move forward with this plan. But it is significant to discuss because if they do this, it would destroy the tunnel network, but it also risks damaging significant infrastructure across Gaza and possibly damaging the fresh water that civilians use to drink there. With that said, Israeli forces still operating in the northern part of the Strip.
Fox's Trey Yinks this morning. A house in Arlington, Virginia is literally matchsticks as it explodes as police officers are attempting to execute a search warrant.
We've seen reports from people 2-3 miles away saying their homes shook with this blast, and absolutely stunning and horrifying. This explosion was the fiery conclusion to a 3.5-hour barricade situation. Police were initially called to this Arlington home around 4:45 p.m. for reports of possible shots heard. Now, according to an updated release by the Arlington County Police Department this morning, quote, the preliminary investigation indicated a suspect discharged a flare gun approximately 30 to 40 times from inside his residence into the surrounding neighborhood.
Right now, it's believed no officers were injured. A man is facing murder charges after 3 homeless people were shot to death near Los Angeles. Powerball jackpot keeps growing. No grand prize winner in Monday's drawing. Wednesday's drawing goes even higher. Chicago Tribune first to report that Manteno Village Board on Monday night approved a zoning change that clears the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery manufacturing plant that has been championed by Governor J.B. Pritzker. It came on a 5-1 vote. A toddler killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana in the town of Maryville. Construction halted on a tent camp for migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood. The state pausing work on the base camp at 38th and California pending an Illinois EPA review. Resident Michael Lynn now hopes the project will be shut down for good.
We hope that the result will kill this project because we think it's unfair to put migrants on a site that has an industrial history.
If construction resumes, the motion that was dismissed by a Cook County judge could be reinstated. Blackhawks take on Nashville tonight. Bulls and Hornets tomorrow. Monday Night Football. Cincinnati, a comeback win over Jacksonville. Number 18, Illinois, on the college hardwood tonight, will take on number 9, Florida Atlantic. The news, a service of Townstone Financial. Should you buy a new home? Can you afford it? Townstone.com has answers, or call 312-896-2110. Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 NMLS 136639. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago this Christmas season on their spectacular annual holiday tour. And AM 560 is giving away tickets. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/Christmas. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra at the All-State Arena. Go to 560theanswer.com/Christmas.
It's Reveille. Earlier this year, Illinois Democrats, more concerned about taking guns from legal gun owners than from gangbangers, passed a gun ban law. It outlaws the purchase of 170 different firearms. During the debate on the bill, Republicans noted that the bill is likely unconstitutional and will garner many lawsuits. Senate President Don Harmon's response was, "We'll see you in court." Harmon made that statement with confidence, as just 2 months earlier, he and his fellow Democrats spent millions to elect 2 new judges to the Illinois Supreme Court. Those millions included $3.7 million, nearly half the amount spent in support of those judges, from an independent expenditure PAC controlled by Harmon's political ally and his own lawyer for his Senate president office, a man named Luke Casson. Harmon also gave his own $500,000 to the cause, and Pritzker chipped in $1 million to each judge. Then just months later, lawsuits over both the Safety Act and the gun ban law made their way to that Illinois Supreme Court. And sitting at the defense table to represent Harmon before the very judges he just helped get elected was Mr. Casson. The judges were asked to recuse themselves from these cases, and they refused. Now, 2 of the gun ban cases are on the docket with the U.S. Supreme Court. The plaintiffs will argue that the judges defied a SCOTUS ruling from 2009 that said after receipt of substantial campaign contributions, judges should recuse themselves. The money in this race is sleazy as it gets. Last week, Casson's All for Justice PAC was given one of the largest fines in state history for failing to follow campaign finance rules. I'm Jeannie Ives. To learn more, listen to my radio show from 7 to 9 p.m. on Sunday and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
7:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and the Edens right now is at 38 minutes from Lake Cook Road into the junction. The Kennedy sitting at an hour 20 from O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike stop and go between 25th and Ogden, 70 minutes in, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson right now, jam solid, Harlem to Kedzie. It's an hour 10 from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan inbound. It's almost an hour, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. The good news is, right now, the Dan Ryan outbound has been reopened after that much earlier fatal accident investigation. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Snow this morning, changing over to afternoon rain. High of 40, cloudy and 30 overnight. Still some light snow in the area, 33 at O'Hare, 34 Midway, 32 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. We'll get to Goshen, but I want to start with this really interesting study by the Commonwealth Foundation about the government unions. The NEA, AFT, SEIU, and AFSCME, the axis of evil certainly at the state level, and to a lesser extent the federal level. This is who runs Illinois. AFSCME, the teachers' unions, and SEIU, and everything else and everybody else, spare parts in service of these unions. Right? We talked about it last week. Like, for example, your home, which you don't own. It's collateral for the union's defined benefit pensions. The Commonwealth Foundation looked at political spending by the unions. In the 2021-2022 election cycle, so the midterms, they spent a combined $708 million on politics. Wow. Since 2012, union spending on federal elections has nearly tripled. Democrats and their associated causes receive 96% of the cash. And so here again, as I've said about Illinois for going on decades, how does the Republican Party not draw a bright line and say, we will not take, none of our members will take, none of our elected officials are going to take money from SEIU, the teachers, and AFSCME, because these are anathema to good governance and fiscal sanity. They're cultural Marxists on top of it, for God's sakes. 96%. Oh, and at the state level, those unions, the teachers, SEIU, AFSCME, can't say it enough. So the IEA, IFT, AFSCME, and SEIU in Illinois. And at the state level, the four largest government unions, well, who's number one in the country during the midterm cycle in terms of spending at the state level? Number one. Illinois is the fifth most populous state, but number one with a bullet when it comes to public sector union spending, these government unions. $28 million in Illinois compared to $25 million in California, which, of course, is 3 times the size.
Right. I was going to say it's a lot bigger than Illinois.
$28 million. And then these are the same people that, with the help of their media functionaries, who run around decrying the billionaire set who, supports the super PACs that I've run in Illinois. Oh, funded by the billionaires and this and that. Oh, get the money out of politics. Meanwhile, $28 million in the midterms last year. The rank hypocrisy of it all. Also, those same 4 unions, Commonwealth Foundation study, accounted for 83% of BLM Brandon's campaign funds, teachers' unions the most. 83%.
I remember some teachers fought back, like, we don't want our union dues going to him, because they didn't take a collective vote. They just did it.
And Illinois House Speaker, when did you stop beating your girlfriend? Chris Welch?
It was a Formica countertop. Come on.
Well, when did you stop? Yeah, Chris Welch. $1.25 million in the midterms. More than any other state legislator in the country. So tell me again about the union, these 4 unions in particular, not the unions, these 4 unions in particular being a force for good and good governance. Illinois is, of course, the prime case study, the worst example. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Ted Dabrowski. Now, Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. None of this comes as a surprise to you, but it's always good to have the numbers.
No, it's great. It's great to have the numbers. And Commonwealth Foundation has done a pretty good job of this over the past year. So I'm glad they put this out. And what's fascinating is the parts you mentioned, which is of course all the money and the influence. And I think what most ordinary people forget, not the ones on this show, but the ordinary people who keep voting for the union supported politicians, largely Democrats, but a lot of Republicans, as you mentioned, especially those that take money from the education unions.
Yeah, like the leadership, like the quote unquote leadership of the Republican Party.
Well,
the House Republican super minority leader in the House, super minority leader in the Senate, and they wonder why they're in the super minority. No, they don't. But they're bending over for these jackals in the government unions, just like the Democrats do.
Yeah, and then it's with that power that the unions, with the politicians, of course, passing the laws, have created 2 classes of people in Illinois. Right, the union class, the government worker class. Now, I'm speaking about government unions, not private sector unions. They created this government union class that's protected by the Pension Protection Clause, that's now protected by the Workers' Rights Amendment, that's protected with long-term contracts, guaranteed raises, guaranteed salaries, all these benefits they get. And the other class, which is the one that has to pay for all that, they don't get any of those benefits. And so the ordinary Illinoisan has gladly or seemingly or whatever, accidentally, whatever you want to call it, created and voted for and perpetuates this 2-class system that they keep having to pay for. They haven't connected the dots why they're paying so much in taxes and why they have no power and why the unions have all the power.
And now in Wisconsin, Governor Walker's budget repair bill, the so-called Act 10, that according to the MacIver Institute, saved Wisconsin taxpayers about $17 billion since it was passed and signed by Walker in 2011. Preventing Wisconsin from becoming Illinois. Well, now they've filed a lawsuit. Now that the left has control of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, they filed a lawsuit seeking to overturn Act 10 and make Wisconsin more like Illinois, because that's what they do. They're like termites going through wood.
Yeah, and what was fascinating about Act 10, when it passed, whatever it was over 10 years ago, was how it really helped Wisconsin get off of a negative path and become a good state again from a budget perspective. They started having more growth. It was really beneficial, and they broke a lot of the problems that we have here in Illinois with the unions. And here they go. They might lose the good thing they've had for a while.
I want to talk about Goshen. You heard it on our newscast at the bottom of the hour that last night the village board in Manteno approved the zoning change to facilitate the location of that Chinese communist-backed EV battery plant in Manteno. We talked about this a bit last week. There was a pretty good turnout of the No Goshen residents, but the village board decided to stick with the Chi-Coms instead. I understand that some of those opponents who are Manteno residents are raising money to challenge the vote in court. But what's your perspective on the prospects of stopping Goshen?
Well, they've hired lawyers, the same lawyers that helped out of Minnesota, who helped stop one of those
Michigan
Chinese projects. No, this is they worked in Michigan too, but also a project in I forget if it was South Dakota or somewhere. So similar thing where they kept the Chinese out. The question is going to be, they've got the zoning now passed. That passed 5 last night, and so the barriers are being removed. And Pritzker's got everybody pretty much lined up. So there's still attempts at doing some kind of lawsuits on environmental, but we'll have to see what kind of power this group has and whether they think they can find a path to blocking it. But you've seen all the major players come up and support it. So I think it's going to be tough. It's been a good fight, but I think we don't have the recall. We don't have the recall power they had in Big Rapids in Michigan. So we have to wait around for the next election cycle to try to kick people out.
By the way, there is a website set up by those residents of Manteno challenging that vote. NoGoshen-Illinois.com, NoGoshen-Illinois.com if you want to help that fight.
And just along on this line, what's really, I think, damning about all this is, I just looked up a report we wrote a year and a half ago about Pritzker pushing his EV initiative back when he was passing this back in November 2021, the Reimagining Electric Vehicles in Illinois Act, and that whole thing was passed around trying to base it around Rivian, and at the time Rivian stock price was at $172. Today it's at $17. And the problem with this whole thing is that Pritzker and of course Biden and others are pushing this EV agenda, which we're seeing start to crumble. And it's this big industrial policy that they think is the right one for Illinois and for America. But you're starting to watch a lot of this whole EV movement slow down, maybe crumble, because the news on EVs are horrible. They're more expensive to take care of. They break down more often. They're not. It's $50,000 of subsidies per every EV made in America right now. So it's an unsustainable path. We'll have to see where it goes. But they've given $500 million to Goshen for this EV batteries from Illinois alone, and that's $200,000 a job.
Well, I got to tell you, even NBC Nightly News did a story about no one's buying EV vehicles. In fact, they even interviewed a car dealer who said they're returning them because if their battery breaks down, it's $40,000 to buy a new one. And no one has that kind of cash.
Especially if you're poor, right? If you with an old combustible car, you can you can fix it easily. You can change the engine out for $1,000, some cheap engine, but you can't do that with these cars. So it's going to be, I read a great piece by somebody that just saying that this is destructive for the poor people because they can't afford these cars. They can't afford them to begin with, and they can't afford to repair them.
Now, I wanted to ask you about Governor Pritzker because he's at odds right now with Mayor Johnson. So they had this 800-page report released Friday about, the mercury and other toxins that were found at the site at 38th and Broadway, or 38th in California. And now Governor Pritzker, he's saying, well, reporters got that report before the governor's office did, so there's a pause in construction. Is he possibly doing this because if we have these big, large white tents, it might look bad when he's trying to run for president someday?
He's still committed $65 million to it. It's going to happen.
But...
It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think the big mess is, I think it's more that Brandon Johnson is proving he doesn't know how to manage a city. And I think that was probably known before he got in, as we all wrote about. But he's proving continuously that he's not capable. And that hurts Pritzker, because Pritzker needs as bad as Chicago may be run, he needs it to be somewhat, quote, normal. And Johnson doesn't know how to do that. And so, Pritzker's had to step in. They got the DNC in Chicago in less than a year, so things need to be perfect. And he doesn't want anybody screwing up his presidential ambitions in case they come to fruition. So Johnson is not a good partner right now for Pritzker in the sense of management of things. Certainly on crime, now on the migrant crisis, he hasn't managed it well. And this has allowed Pritzker to come in and say, "Hey, I'm the big guy. I got the money now. Let me take over." Bad for Johnson. And maybe good for Pritzker if he manages it well.
Well, do you know how much Governor Pritzker has paid out of his own pocket to have the DNC here in Chicago?
I have no idea about that. Yeah.
Look, the important news and the good news is that they're both underwritten politically and Brandon Johnson financially by those government unions. So they'll find a way to get along. And isn't that just what we want? Isn't that just what we want so that Illinois can stay on this wonderful track that it's on? Ted Dabrowski, President, WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. We wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. They're a bank with roots right here in Chicago, and their decisions are made locally too. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank. We'd like to wish you happy holidays from our Signature Bank family to your family.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, Dan, we got a text message on our text line. Dan and Amy, that
good place for it.
38th and California site is Chicago's Camp Lejeune. Don't drink the water. Too soon?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can't trust Jelly Belly to make sure everything's on the up and up, who can you trust?
I know. They're going to have a decision on that on Thursday, by the way. All right. Once again, we have partnered up with Food for the Poor because we want to help provide life-saving food to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. During the season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food costs, millions of children and their families are suffering. It's not like here in America where you always can find a place to get a meal. There's always a food pantry open. There's always a church, Tuesday night supper at one church location, Friday night supper at another location. But they simply don't know where their next meal is coming from. What we're asking for is a one-time donation of $80, but whatever you can give, we would appreciate it. But just $80 will feed 2 children for a year. The number to call, 844-862-4673, or simply visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. If you're feeling more generous, a $320 donation will feed 8 children for an entire year. Think about that. 844-862-4673, or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
And as always, we rely on business leadership to help meet our goals with Food for the Poor for our holiday campaign. So we have the Business Benefactor Program again. You make a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And we at AM 560 give you 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., our prime broadcasting hours. It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio from a marketing perspective. And at the same time, you'll be providing life-saving food for more than 65 children in Haiti for a year. To become a business benefactor, you just call our general sales manager. Her name is Ann Jeanette, and her phone number, 847-472-8951. Again, Ann Jeanette at 847-472-8951 to become a business benefactor.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
Hi, my name is Peg. I'm a wife, mother, and grandmother. I love being with family. We have so much fun doing things together, and that is really the priority of my life. Family is so important to me, and I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to do the things that I enjoy doing with all of them. I try and exercise and eat well, and balance of nature just helps me to put it all together and take me over the top. I really am happy that I came across it, and I've been taking it for probably 5 years, and I will continue to take it. I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk a little bit more in depth about our Food for the Poor campaign with Anitra Parmalee at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom on this snowy, sleety, rain day. Here's Mike Scott.
Construction halted on a Brighton Park migrant tent camp. 2 SIU students from the Chicago area killed in a crash near the campus. A juror has been removed from the Ed Burke trial. We'll tell you why. And 5 are hurt in a Joliet crash. Blackhawks host the Predators tonight. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Get out. Don't get caught in the crossfire. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israel ordering Palestinian civilians out of some neighborhoods in a community in southern Gaza.
Their efforts focused around the city of Han Yunis, residents describing last night's airstrikes as the heaviest since the war began.
Fox's Trey Yanks near Gaza also reports.
Just a few minutes ago, sirens were sounding across central Israel, including in the country's second largest city of Tel Aviv. 60 days into this conflict, Hamas and Islamic Jihad have maintained their abilities to fire on major population centers.
And the Wall Street Journal reports Israel is considering flooding tunnels to root Hamas out from underground in Gaza. Next hour at the House, the presidents of Harvard and Penn and MIT will testify at a hearing into anti-Semitism on college campuses amid big pro-Palestinian protests. The FBI director will testify at the Senate next hour. Christopher Wray plans to urge Congress to reauthorize a key provision of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Wray will tell senators that Iran and other foreign adversaries are more brazen in their threats, and stripping the FBI of this tool would be disarmament. Meanwhile, a House Republican probe of the FBI concludes
the Bureau's targeting of Catholic Americans went further than we actually knew. It says the FBI interviewed a priest and a church choir director before issuing that internal memo, which called Catholics potential domestic terrorists.
But Fox's Brooke Singman also reports that probe went nowhere.
The FBI tells me that an internal review conducted by the FBI found no malicious intent to target Catholics or members of any other religious faith.
A vacation nightmare in the Bahamas. A 44-year-old woman from Boston attacked by a shark.
Police say she and a man were paddleboarding in the waters off New Providence Island at the time. A rescue boat came to their aid. The man was unharmed, but it was too late for the woman. She suffered lacerations to the right side of her body and was declared dead at the scene.
That's Tom Graham. America's listening to Fox News.
33 degrees, snow showers at 8:02 on AM 560 The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Tribune was first to report that the Manteno Village Board on Monday night approved on a 5-1 vote a zoning change that clears the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery plant that has been championed by progressive Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker. A toddler was killed in an apparent accidental shooting in northwest Indiana Monday evening. Maryville, Indiana police say medics arrived on the scene first and began working on the victim, a 3-year-old boy, later transported to an area hospital and pronounced dead. Construction is halted on a tent camp for illegal migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood. It follows the release of a report showing the site was contaminated. The state paused the work on the base camp near 38th in California.
The IEPA, of course, is reviewing that. There's a pause that we put in place pending their review and results of that review, which will come out sometime very soon.
There's a shakeup in the jury of the federal trial of former longtime Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. One of the jurors was removed from the case yesterday due to an illness. The family of a man shot and killed by police in Oak Grove Village last week are seeking answers. Relatives of Jack Murray say police were aware of his health issues. Family's lawyer said the 24-year-old was a type 1 diabetic whose behavior could become erratic depending on insulin levels.
Family believes Jack called police again on December 1st, 2023 for those very same reasons. He felt that he was mentally and physically not right.
Attorney Antonio Romanucci. Chicago sports. Blackhawks take on Nashville tonight. Monday night football. Cincinnati, a win over Jacksonville. Number 18 Fighting Illini have a college hoops date with a top 10 team. Number 9 Florida Atlantic tonight. The news service of the Fireplace and Chimney Authority called to schedule your appointment today at 630-279-8500 or visit their showrooms in Lisle or Elmhurst or online at fireplaceandchimneyauthority.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Tesla is facing more problems as its collective bargaining conflict in Sweden spreads to neighboring Denmark, where transport workers say they'll take industrial action in solidarity with workers in Sweden. The Texas-based automaker is non-unionized globally, but the Swedish workers are demanding the car maker sign a collective bargaining agreement, which most employees in Sweden have. Tesla's got no manufacturing plant in Sweden, but several service centers. The sympathy action starts December 20th. Rating agency Moody's downgrades its outlook on China's government credit ratings to negative from stable. And an indicator of how well the labor market is doing comes out this morning. The latest job openings, or JOLTS data, also shows how many new hires there are and how many people are leaving their jobs. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago this Christmas season on their spectacular annual holiday tour. And AM 560 is giving away tickets. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/Christmas. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra at the All-State Arena. Go to 560theanswer.com/Christmas.
Homeowners experiencing low water pressure, rusty yellow water, little to no hot water, or pressure so low that showering is difficult?
Honey, don't flush. I'm in the shower.
These are all symptoms of clogged and corroded galvanized water pipes that are filled with gunk older than you. You should see it. It's disgusting. You drink it, brush your teeth with it, and bathe in it. Yuck. For your family's sake, repipe your home with quality PEX or copper pipes from All Affordable Plumbing. We're your local family-owned and operated repiping expert. We can repipe your home in 1 to 3 days with minimal disturbance, and we include a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, we're offering 12-month no-interest, no-payment financing and a free water heater. So if you have low water pressure, call for a free in-home estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. That's 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. If you have low water pressure, a copper repipe will get you flowing again. Call for a free estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE. That's 800-NEW-PIPE.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
It's 8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Accidents in Mundelein, Route 83 and Midlothian Road. Addison, Lake, and Swift report of an accident. On the expressways, 8094 jams up westbound between Martin Luther King Drive and Indianapolis Boulevard. Slowdowns on I-80 eastbound between LaGrange and I-57. On the toll roads, the Reagan slowing up eastbound. Route 83 into the Tri-State. Tri-State right now slow northbound from 8094 up through Halstead. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Cloudy skies, a bit of rain and snow today. Could see about an inch in accumulation. Some spotty drizzle for the afternoon. The high today 40. Cloudy tonight, low 30. Clouds tomorrow, the high 41. Sunny, mild day on Thursday, the high at 53. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Snowfall totals, for the most part, under an inch. Still light snow at O'Hare, 33. Light snow, 34 at Midway, and 33 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig and Leslie Bolano Sunday mornings at 10. Learn more at investwithwmg.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As we've been discussing for the past couple of weeks, we are fully into our annual holiday campaign with Food for the Poor to raise the requisite dollars to feed starving children in Haiti and other other countries in the developing world where starvation is a real threat. I want to just highlight our business benefactors again, because a key aspect of this campaign in terms of meeting our goals is getting a business leadership from the Chicagoland area. And Amy will explain what the Business Benefactor Program is, how it works. But just want to thank Waukegan Roofing, Opinion Health Solutions, Jeff Tischler, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, Marshall Pearson Company, Fine Jewelry and Luxury Watches, Brewster Machining Incorporated, and many other businesses for their support, because it's mission critical for this campaign.
And if you've thought about, maybe you want to advertise for your company and you're not sure, if you're on the fence, folks, this is the best deal in all of Chicago radio. A one-time donation of $2,500, which is tax deductible, goes to Food for the Poor, and as a way of saying thank you, we give you 40 one-minute commercials that air right here on AM 560. This sells out every year, so the sooner you get on it, the better. But think about it. You'll be helping children who are facing starvation on a daily basis, but you'll also be boosting your company. And we've had so many advertisers that are still in our family that started out as business benefactors. I mean, I think of Turnkey IT, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, Waukegan Roofing, Tom Sedeka's company. I mean, the list goes on and on. But we really help them elevate their business. Because, again, it's the best deal in Chicago radio to become a business benefactor. Write it down. 847-472-8951. You have to call Ann Jeanette. Again, the phone number is 847-472-8951. If you're on the fence, just call Ann Jeanette anyway. She'll walk you through the process, tell you, the benefits. And again, the money helps those that are near starvation on a daily basis, and it will also help elevate your business.
And again, Food for the Poor, 40-year track record, 5-star Charity Navigator rated, 90% plus of every dollar raised goes directly to the provision of food and water and infrastructure building to sustain lives and save lives in Haiti and elsewhere. For more on this campaign, we're pleased to be joined by Anitra Parmalee. She's associated with Food for the Poor. Anitra, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. What an exciting time of the year as people are starting to take stock of 2023. And we have seen such an outpouring of generosity from your listeners who are taking a stand against hunger in, as you mentioned, 17 countries throughout Latin America and the Caribbean by providing food for a year. The numbers are incredible in terms of the families that have been impacted by rising food prices, but also amazing in terms of your listeners stepping up to make a difference. Talking about Kevin listening in Carroll Stream, his gift of $160 will rescue 4 children, providing food for a year. If you've been to the grocery store lately, you know that is pretty amazing and efficient, as we're able to say $160 one-time gift provides 4 children with food for a year. For Jonathan and Jennifer, they were streaming the show in Wichita. They were able to give a gift of $1,000, rescuing 25 children. So I love that everybody is, just looking at their own resources, but trying to make a difference for 2024. Imagine being able to provide a hungry child who hasn't eaten maybe for 2 or 3 days, with the assurance of knowing they are going to get 2 life-saving meals a day for the next year. I mean, that's what we're inviting you to be a part of right now.
I like that word you use, rescue. I mean, that's really what this is, a rescue operation. That's probably the best way to describe it. By the way, JohnCastNews.com, John Cast just texted me, I'm in JohnCastNews.com, business benefactor.
Yeah.
If you can't trust John Cast, then, who can you trust in this world? So we appreciate John Cast's support and all the other businesses as well. It's really great. So how tell us, give us a little bit of stock in terms of how the overall campaign is going, what the goal is this year, and how we're doing in achieving that.
Well, we have an audacious goal because we, having been with your listeners year after year after year, we know the generosity not just of the business benefactors, but also of the families, the couples, the singles, the people that are saying, I'm the mother of 2 kids, and I want to make sure another mother who woke up this morning not knowing how she's going to feed her child, I want to relieve that pressure for her. So already almost 2,000 children, you've allowed Food for the Poor to notify those parents that they are going to have a future, quite literally. I mean, so many of these words in terms of hunger and malnutrition and the threat of starvation can be just, can weigh you down. But we encourage you to think about the hope that your gift gives, because you transform that mother when she is able to know that no longer does every waking moment need to be focused on getting food for her children. Imagine how that boulder of terror just rolls off, and all of a sudden she's able to exhale. I mean, as parents, imagine not knowing how to feed your children, not because you're lazy or a bad parent, but because of circumstances totally out of your control. And then somebody comes along and says, somebody is coming alongside and standing by you, your children, 2 children, 4 children, even gifts, as we mentioned, of 25 children, business benefactors, over 60 children will get the news that they're going to eat for a year. Whatever the number of children, imagine the impact on each of them as they have a future. You are making 2024 possible for them.
Yeah, and I've been there, and I was lucky to go along before political unrest. They had to stop the trips, but to work at the feeding center to actually fill up these buckets with rice and beans, and seeing the smiles on people's faces, even though they walked miles to get there, and they do it every day to bring back, just a bucket of rice and beans back to their children.
Amy, we've been so grateful. I've been listening to your stories, and you take me back. I have the honor of traveling with Food for the Poor to many of the countries where we serve, and there's just that recognition. You can hear about it, but it's different when you speak so eloquently of standing there, of the smells, of the sights, of the sounds, and, as you mentioned, the incredible joy of being able to ladle into these buckets food that is going to make a difference. And I've been so grateful as I've listened to the show that you're able to translate that to somebody who may never have the chance to go to Haiti, but because of your experiences and your stories and your on the ground testimony of the efficiency of Food for the Poor, suddenly they're saying, okay, this is something I want to be a part of. I don't want to miss out on this. So grateful to you and for traveling with us and for sharing your story so eloquently.
I mean, it's hard to describe the level of poverty. There's garbage piles burning. It's just chaotic. I've never seen and probably never will see anything like it in my life.
Well, and this is sort of like, in terms of our supporters, people supporting the campaign, this is sort of like being a virtual volunteer at a soup kitchen. Not that you can't do that in real life, too, but this is another way to do it where the threat truly is existential. It's an overused word, but it's applicable here. And the other thing, too, just with Food for the Poor as the vehicle, I think people need to understand the trust relationship built up over 40 years and the infrastructure. There's just not a lot of other organizations that have the capacity to do what you do. So, in many places like Haiti, it's more or less Food for the Poor or nothing.
You're exactly right. And in Haiti, we are the largest NGO. Literally millions of Haitians rely on Food for the Poor for their daily food because of, we've read the headlines, we know the story of Haiti, but these innocent victims of these circumstances are rescued because of gifts like yours. You're exactly right. This morning, a father is going to set off on a journey in the heat and the challenges of a 2-hour trip because he's heard the rumor that somebody may have food for his children. They haven't eaten for 2 days. And as a husband, as a father, that is a matter of shame for him. And he finally makes it to the Food for the Poor staff member. And the only reason that staff member's able to say yes. Here's food for your children, and we are going to be able to feed you for the next year is because of your action right now. Without you, I mean, this is reality. Without you, that staff member just shakes his head. There is not provision without your gift. And we're so grateful for everyone who's given. I challenge you, will you be a part of rescuing the next 50 children? That would be a one-time gift of $2,000. Maybe like Frankie in Bloomingdale, you can give $500 and rescue 12 children. Again, maybe like Kevin and Carol Stream. For you, your number is 160, rescuing 4 children. Whatever your amount, will you say yes right now as 2023 comes to an end so that 2024 is full of possibilities and will give children a future?
And again, if you're not running your donation through a business to take advantage of the Business Benefactor Program, the individual donations that Anitra was referencing, you can make one at 844-862-4673, 844-862-4673, that is, or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And, a gift as little as $80 can feed 2 children for a year.
And I love what Martha said. When you go to 560theanswer.com and click on that big red banner, we ask all the normal information, but we also ask if you'd like to share, just tell us why you gave. And we have had such inspiring comments, Amy, in response to your stories, because they trust you guys so much. They're like, do you know what? I know my money is going to be well placed and that every dollar is going to make a difference. And from Martha, she said, there are so many headlines that I hear about that I can't do anything about. This is finally something I can do something about. And she was able to make a very generous gift in the name of her family. So will you say yes right now to providing a future for children or mothers who are boiling water? This is a situation we see over and over where they're boiling water and we ask them, oh, what are you cooking? And the response is just devastating. I'm boiling water only to give my children hope that there may be something coming to eat. I'm hoping they fall asleep before they realize I have nothing to give them.
Yeah, it's such a heartbreaking story, but it's true. And I'm about to tweet out the picture of the boy that we saw on the side of the road that we stopped. I'm like, just stop and let's give him all the food we have. Because his mom was gone because she was walking to the village to get the food, to bring it back. But that was such a nice surprise and the smile on his face. So please, whatever amount you could give, 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. But that child and his brother, if you just donate $80, you could feed those 2 boys for a year. And also, again, we cannot hit hard enough our Business Benefactor Program. It is the best deal in Chicago radio. $2,500 tax-deductible donation. We will give you 40 one-minute commercials that will air right here on AM 560, Monday through Friday, at primetime hours. And you will be helping people as well as you're helping your business to become a business benefactor. Call Ann Jeanette, 847-472-8951. And just think, how many people, if you get a $2,500 donation, what could you do with that?
That's 62 children suddenly who have a future. Imagine children who have not had food for 2 or 3 days will have 2 meals a day every single day. And I'm so nosy. I want to know, the children you rescue, who are they going to become? Will they be the next community leader, the next pastor, the next micro industry leader? You are giving them
the next Olden Polonies, a couple NBA players from Haiti.
Seriously, because all of a sudden they have a future. And Amy, I love your story of stopping and meeting needs, because isn't that our impetus? And that is, as a listener to Dan and Amy, I know your generosity. If these children were at your door, you'd be running for your pantry. If your second grader said, Mommy, I don't think the little boy has a lunch every day, you'd be packing not one brown bag, but several to make sure everybody ate. Well, it's a click, it's a call, but the impact is beyond words when you move children from hunger into satisfaction and a hope for the future.
Anitra Parmalee, Food for the Poor representative. Anitra, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. So excited to have a front row seat to see your listeners respond with generosity.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Jeffrey Salvetti, Vice President of Blue Star Security and a 15-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. That's bluestarsecurityllc.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-839-8484. That's 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Hi, Wayne Burdick, Health Insurance Specialist. Open enrollment for individual and small group plans has arrived. There are many plan changes for 2024. Let me help you find the right plan. Lower your cost of insurance, reduce deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses. Call now, 847-274-5918, or go to lowercosthealthplans.com. Having an agent is crucial and no cost to you. Call Burdick Insurance at 847-274-5918 or lowercosthealthplans.com. AM
560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll have more from Dubai, the COP28 confab, where all the professional liars took their private jets to talk about saving the planet. Hillary Clinton spoke. You'll be interested in what yarn she's spinning. And we'll also get reaction from Michael Schellenberger, the environmentalist turned reporter. That's at 8:38.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
34 degrees. And right now, snow showers are tapering off in the area at 8:31. The Israel-Hamas war is in its 60th day. Israeli forces conducting their ground assault in southern Gaza as Hamas terror leaders are thought to be hiding there. Funding for Ukraine is running out, according to the White House in a letter to congressional leaders. The administration said it will run out of funds to provide weaponry to Ukraine without congressional action by the end of the year. 4 candidates who will participate in this week's GOP debate are now set. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy are set to take the stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Former President Trump instead will take part in a Fox News town hall. A YouTube influencer will spend only 6 months in federal prison for intentionally crashing a plane in California. 30-year-old Trevor Jacob faced 20 years behind bars. He admitted to staging the crash for YouTube views and intentionally destroying the wreckage of that plane. The Chicago Tribune was first to report that last night the Manteno Village Board approved a zoning change that clears the way for a $2 billion Chinese Communist Party-linked electric vehicle battery manufacturing plant championed by Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker. Construction halted on a tent camp for illegal migrants in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood. It follows the release of a report showing the site was contaminated. The state paused that work on the base camp at 38th in California, pending an Illinois EPA review. Resident Michael Lynn hopes the project will be shut down for good.
We hope that the result will kill this project because we think it's unfair to put migrants on a site that has an industrial history.
And 2 Southern Illinois University students from the Chicago area have been killed following a head-on crash near the university's Carbondale campus. Francis Martinez of Des Plaines and Wolf Gustafson of Park Ridge died when a truck they were riding in collided with another vehicle. Blackhawks take on Nashville tonight. Monday Night Football, Cincinnati, a comeback win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. College hoops tonight, number 18 Illinois will tackle another top 10 team, number 9 Florida Atlantic. The news, a service of Indeed.com. Attract, interview, and hire candidates, sponsor a job, and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
Hezbollah leader threatens escalation. You've been threatening. You know, they all threaten from Qatar. You know, this is the one thing. And here in America, same thing. All of these old men. It looks like the shooting of Cocoon 3. All of these 90-year-old men, they send our young boy. How come none of the leaders fight? See, I want to fight. I'll fight you. I want to fight the leader of Hamas. I'll fight the leader of Hezbollah. I want to fight you.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
Announcing a one-and-done Christmas gift for her that is sure to make you a holiday hero. So smooth, so seductive. It's the new Smooth Seduction Satin Nightie and Robe from Pajamagram. Curve caressing, glides against the skin. The Smooth Seduction satin nightie and robe are designed to make her feel amazing and drive you wild. But that's not all. Right now, Pajamagram is offering a Smooth Seduction satin gift set. It's the sultry robe with the sexy nightie, plus a free satin eye mask, all elegantly wrapped in a satin keepsake bag. That's 4 deluxe gifts, quickly delivered to your door, ready to go under the tree. So if you want to win the holidays, go to pajamagram.com today and get the Smooth Seduction satin nightie and robe with free eye mask in a keepsake bag. But hurry, order today before it sells out. That's pajamagram.com for the Smooth Seduction satin gift set.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
8:37, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A tough 47 minutes on your inbound Edens commute right now, Lake Cook Road into the junction. The Kennedy at 90 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, an hour 16 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, an hour 8 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 42 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Snow changing over to rain. High near 40 later today. Clouds and 30 overnight. Light snow and 34 at O'Hare, 34 along Chicago's lakefront. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That all self-important COP28 conference going on in Dubai. And Secretary of State Kankles made an appearance yesterday.
That's so bad.
She had.
I haven't heard that one before. Secretary of State Kankles?
Yeah, you remember her.
No, I remember. I thought Secretary of State
Foundation.
Suit Pants. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That works too. She took to the stage to offer this admonition with respect to the impending doom of the planet.
We're seeing and beginning to pay attention and to count and record the deaths that are related to climate, and by far the biggest killer is extreme heat. I mean, even in Europe last summer, which has the ability to count and figure out what happened, they recorded 61,000 deaths because of the heat in Europe. We don't have that kind of number yet from Africa, Asia, Latin America, but we know and estimate that we probably could measure about 500,000 deaths. And the majority of those are women and girls, and particularly pregnant women.
Right. Hillary Clinton and Horseface are saving lives over there in Dubai, except that's not true, what she said. Well, it's only half the truth, which is the same thing as an untruth for the purpose of scaremongering. In point of fact, as we know from the work of Bjorn Lomborg over at the Copenhagen Consensus Center, and as well as researchers that have published in The Lancet, which is one of the preeminent medical science journals, cold deaths vastly outweigh heat deaths. And it's not close. Each year, according to the Lancet research paper, almost 600,000 people die globally from heat. 4.5 million die from cold. So a factor of 8x in the direction of cold. She's talking about heat. She doesn't mention cold. Of course she doesn't. Moreover, this from Lomborg, when the researchers include increasing temperatures of 0.5 degree Fahrenheit over a decade, they find heat deaths increase, but cold deaths decrease more than twice as much. So on balance, in terms of saving lives, a cold is the primary enemy, not heat. That's not to be dismissive of any part of the conversation, but it's to set a foundation for what's actually true.
Those are the facts. But that it didn't fit her narrative because, there was a heat wave in Europe this summer.
Michael Schellenberger, he writes over at his Substack Public, and he's been writing a lot with Matt Taibbi about the Twitter files and this new cyber threat intelligence league, censorship industrial complex development. But before that, he was a well-known environmentalist. We've had him on the show before. You may remember a few years ago, he wrote this very interesting, heartfelt apology for his several decades of environmental activism, saying that while he was attempting to be a proponent of being a good steward of our natural resources and the planet, he had done too much to platform and amplify the fact-free scaremongering, the apocalyptic talk you hear from Secretary of State Kankles and Secretary of State Horseface, what you're hearing from them in Dubai this week. Schellenberger did a interview with Tucker Carlson talking a little bit about that, about sort of the cornerstones of a free and thriving society, cheap energy being one of them. Take a listen.
The pillars of civilization are cheap energy, meritocracy, law and order, and free speech. And all four of those pillars are currently under attack. And so you start with cheap energy. I mean, you can't maintain modern civilization without cheap energy. We know we couldn't have had the Industrial Revolution for physical reasons if they hadn't found coal and they hadn't made a use of coal with the steam engine. So the attack on cheap energy is truly an attack on modern civilization, and it should frighten us, and we should be aware to it and alive to it. I think, what gives me hope here is that, environmentalism, it used to have a kind of utopian, positive side. That's all gone. I mean, we saw with Greta Thunberg and Extinction Rebellion, it became very nihilistic, it became very anti-human, so dark, it was basically just about preventing the end of the world, preventing the apocalypse. They used to still try to hide their hatred of humanity a little bit. But this year, I mean, gloves are off and masks are off, and you can just see, here they are openly flying their private planes to a climate conference where they're demanding that ordinary people pay much more for energy, that we keep energy supplies secure. Our electric grids right now in the United States, Tucker, are in serious jeopardy. I mean, we're having reliability crises, not just in California. That's the most famous one, but we've seen it all over the country. Texas, we saw it in the Midwest and Southeast last year during winter. So we're seeing an attack on the grid, which is really a testament to modern civilization. It's happening everywhere at the same time. Europe, United States. What gives me hope is that I think it's finally becoming obvious to people that it's a scam, and that the people that are pushing this really hate civilization, or at least they hate civilization for others. They want it only for themselves. And that they're in the grip of a really dogmatic cult philosophy. I mean, I think it's fair to call it a death cult at this point, when you're stifling energy supplies that are necessary to keep people alive, allow poor people to escape from the use of wood and dung. I don't know what else you call that than an anti-human death cult.
That's right. Well, that's what it is. I mean, it literally is. Extinction Rebellion, one of the organizations he mentioned, as we've talked about previously, I mean, they literally want to sunset humanity. It's like saving our democracy. The problem is the people. You got to save democracy from the people. You also have to save the planet by eliminating the people. It's sort of the same mentality. The people get in the way of their grand plans, the cultist grand plans for heaven on earth. And we're just seeing it play out again. Kerry, yesterday, continuing his jihad against cheap energy, what Schellenberger was just talking about.
To mention that there's only one simple reason we are in the predicament we are in. No rocket science needed, no new algorithm, no mathematician genius. This is happening because we burn fossil fuel unabatedly in the world. And that's what's doing this.
Yeah, wow. That's even there that draws sort of
I think they're getting sick
listless
of them.
applause.
It's like we have to listen to the same pablum year after year, conference after conference. And who is he anyway to say It's like Bill Gates talking about COVID as if he's a doctor and he knows what's best for us just because he has money and power. It's the same thing with this guy, with John Kerry.
Well, and okay, let's say John Kerry's correct. He's not, but let's say that he is.
All right, I'll do that hypothetical.
So it's a simple question that we keep posing. Fossil fuels, 80% of the responsible for 80% of the energy production in America. How do you want to replace it? How are you going? Not how do you want to? How are you going to replace it? Like hard-headed, how are you going to replace it? Not your woozy dreams about a land powered by switchgrass and solar panels, but how are you going to replace it? Just by arbitrarily banning combustion engines? What's the real-world answer to that question? They don't have one. They don't have one because there isn't one. Certainly not on anything close to the timelines they're talking about, this net zero 2050, no cars in California 2035. They're just making stuff up. I mean, you talk to climatologists and the complicated equation of understanding even what's happening, all that we don't know about the climate. And by the way, my hour-long interview with Judith Curry, the former head of Climate and Atmospheric Sciences at Georgia Tech, drops today. You should check that out. She's a font of knowledge. And this YouTube, American Greatness website, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple. Just at least include people who know what they're talking about. And that would be nice.
I'm going to tell Rick DeMaio to listen to that because we always talk about the climate, and when I see him once a year, we go back and forth, and just going to have him listen to your podcast and see what he says.
Oh, by the way, I mean, it is worth noting, too, just in terms of living on the planet, being realistic about these things, being problem-solving oriented. I mean, the Saudis stood up at that same conference and said, we're not on that program. We're not doing it.
Oh, really?
I mean, the Chi-Coms don't even have to say it. We know what they're doing. And so you can piss and moan about coal-fired plants coming online in China at the rate of 2 a year, with dozens planned for activation. And then you look at the developing world and you look at energy-rich countries, and they're saying no. So, because they can't answer that question either, the question I posed to John Kerry. They don't have an answer for it either, in addition to, of course, how integral those industries are to their economic vitality. But so you don't have buy-in, and so you're saying, as Schellenberger said, to Americans, pay higher energy prices with less reliable energy for no particular reason. That is not a particularly attractive proposition to most sensible people, I think I can safely say. But it will persist through this conference. And actually, we're going to talk to Bjorn Lomborg tomorrow, so we'll have a lot more on that. Maybe I'll pull some clips from Judith Curry as well. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food costs.
Food for the Poor is working with local partners to make sure these children and their families get the food they need to survive. And guess what? Your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And thanks to a generous match, that donation will help feed more than 30 children for an entire year.
When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
Call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. Or go to 560theanswer.com and click on the Give Food banner.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, presenting the Turnkey Christmas Carolers.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding and bring it right here. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, so bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Not bad, but what they're really good at is technology and consulting. Start next year off right for your business by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
This is Seth Leibson of 960thepatriot.com for townhall.com. Last week, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Israel doesn't have enough credit to completely dismantle Hamas. This weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris said too many civilians are being killed and Israel must respect international law. Of course, civilians must be protected and international law respected, as they were by Israel on October 6th of this year and last year and the year before that. Of course, too, Hamas, which has been hiding armaments in civilian outposts like schools and hospitals, and civilians in front of military targets, is violating international law. This was true on October 6th of this year and last year and the year before that. Hamas attacks on Israel were the most radical violations of humanitarian and international law we've seen. What is new is that U.S. officials now are complicitly aiding and abetting terrorist war manuals and rules of engagement. This is the precise path to more civilian deaths. Blinken and Harris should be ashamed of themselves.
AM 560, The Answer.
So let's on a humorous note. You know J.P. Sears, the political satirist?
Oh, yeah, we've featured him before. He's funny.
He is funny.
He was great during COVID. Oh.
He hosts a version of Masterpiece Theater of sorts for the Babylon Bee. And the recent offering is a Western featuring the fictional film Biden refers to in order to justify his dog-faced pony soldier reference. They did a really nice job because they've incorporated so many of other classic lines from the big guy. Take a listen.
An old film canister was found on the Warner Brothers lot that contains the trailer for this very film. The reason Biden is the only one who remembers it is because it was only released in Scranton, Pennsylvania for one weekend in 1922, when Biden would have been about 30 years old. And not only does this movie contain the dog-faced pony soldier line, it turns out to be the source of 90% of the nonsense phrases Biden has uttered. Please enjoy this long-lost trailer.
Pa! Someone kidnapped Molly!
Corn Pop.
Who's Corn Pop?
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Who's gonna stop him?
I'm the best qualified people for this job.
Tex, you can't go after Corn Pop. He's killed dozens of men.
$1 billion worth. Excuse me. 1,400,000,000,000,000. Or 1,400,000,740,000,000,000,000,000.
Huh?
200 million people have died. Probably by the time I finish this talk.
That can't be right.
We choose truth over facts.
Whatever. My point is, it's too dangerous. Why do you care so much about stopping Corn Pop?
He poses an existential threat, and he's been stroking violence in our cities. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Well, don't go alone. At least take Black Pete with you.
The great Negro of the time.
Thanks. But please, don't say it like that.
He looks like LL Cool J. The boy's got bigger biceps than my thighs.
Don't call him boy.
I'll help you capture Corn Pop. But I heard he's in Indian territory.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
No, not that type of Indian. And for Black Pete's sake, don't say it like that.
So you think you can stop me just because you teamed up with this kid?
Look, Fat, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Oh, hey, don't say it like that.
Now hand over Molly.
Oh, I would love to help, but I do not know what happened to Molly.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
A what? I don't know what that means. You know what that means?
New to me.
So, Tex, you got anything you want to say before I kill you?
This is the appropriate place to make the speech I'm about to make.
Yeah, sure, whatever, just go for it.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women created by goat, you know the thing. Huh? I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun.
Oh, my people like to play with my hair.
The kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down straight and watch the hair come back up again. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping in my lap. And I love kids jumping in my lap.
Does anybody have any idea what he's talking about?
So you go ahead. You stack spaghetti sauce in a store. And you control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift.
What the heck are you talking about, Tex?
Pressure!
Malarkey, coming soon to one theater in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Very well done.
That is classic. All right, thank you so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Couldn't do it without them. Back here bright and early tomorrow at 5 a.m. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It would make the U.S. less safe. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the FBI Director Christopher Wray